Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome to stream number 25. I cannot believe I'm even saying that, but I've been streamed in a couple of days. I had a few things I needed to take care of. I need to get if I am going to continue this like this, I'm going to really try to stick to a schedule. But anyway, the last stream we had, stream number 24, was quite possibly the craziest stream we have ever had. Um, Also, I think the most views I've had so far on a stream, just from people watching it back, I guess. Um, but we gained 5 subscribers during that stream, which was ridiculous. And we're at 9 right now, so we're about, oh my god, one more, we hit our 10 follower goal, which is like insane to me. That is mind blowing. So I'm gonna do just a normal stream tonight. Gonna do some painting, and reacting to some videos. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do some artist showcase again too. That'll be fun. Let's see, but yeah, we'll see if the big guy. I can't. I got. I really need to like memorize his name because it's the big guy. 19 19,999. So the big guy, 19,999, or should I say the big guy? Or I'll just call him the big guy. But the big guy has always been here for most of my streams. So shout out to him if anybody's watching this back. He is an OG. And if you end up following, your name will be at the end of the stream forever in my outro, which I updated with everybody's new information on it. So that said, I'm gonna play this video. The last stream I did finally figure out, and um, I put the links to all the videos I watched in the description. Um, with like the title and everything. So hopefully that's what I was supposed to do. But anyway, so we're gonna watch building a truly portable PS5 full build and Fallout 4. Um, sorry, Fallout 4 Forest Gaming Test. Um, by Quiet Nerd, which I'm going to subscribe to right now. All right. Oh, hold on. Sorry. Gotta get that technical difficulty shit in there. Okay, let's go back. Here we go.
This is a portable PlayStation 5. It's battery powered, has a built-in screen and sound system, it's got full connectivity, and a fully functioning PS5 all inside one sweet case. But in order to turn this into this, there was so much that needed to be figured out. And in this video, I'm going to be showing you every single step of how this awesome machine was built. And the whole reason I even wanted to make this is because when I was younger, I was lucky enough to have this, a small little portable PlayStation 1. And man, this thing was the coolest thing
That
ever.
is really
There's really
cool.
nothing else like it. It took a system normally you had to just sit in front of your TV and play and made it more mobile, and I absolutely loved it. So, in honor of the old one, it's time to make a new version, except this time out of a PlayStation 5. So, it's time to get this thing open and hope I don't break this. There's no turning back now. And the first step is
Wait, where did
sadly,
I
we gotta
start
take apart this PS5, break it down to its basic components so we can see what we're working with. After removing all of the screws and instantly voiding my warranty, I can carefully go around and pop out all of the major components that make up the PS5, being as careful as I can not to damage anything. And this is what we're left with: our motherboard, our front I/O and USB ports, our power supply, and our little system cooling fan.
All right, so I just wanted to let you guys know exactly what I'm doing with the painting. So, off stream, I did a little bit, or I can't even remember how much I did off stream to these like outline things of different colors. And now I'm going to work on putting down the pencil lines for the this like skeleton type of outline. All right, so let's see.
And it's on to the first challenge, figuring out how we're going to power this on the go. So let's take a closer look at this
That's so
power
cool.
supply. And if we look here, we can see that all this really does, it takes power from your wall outlet and turns it into 12 volt DC up to 31 amps. So
Hmm.
that tells us we can run our PS5 right off of 12 volts DC, which is honestly super convenient because I think I have the perfect thing that can run this on the go: a 12 volt 100 amp hour lithium iron phosphate battery. But there is a bit of a difference between the PlayStation power supply and this 12 volt battery, because when you test the voltage with the multimeter, we can see we're actually getting a bit more than 12 volts, almost closer to 14. So it turns out this 12 volt battery, it's not actually 12 volts. And if we head over and test the PS5 power supply, we get a clean, stable
I
12
think I'll
volts.
have to
So this
do it at
actually is 12
12.
volts.
Which is,
I do know that a lot of electronics out there will still run if there's a slight voltage difference, but I don't want to risk it with this PS5. I mean, I'm trying to make a portable
which
PS5,
is
not a portable
yellow.
paperweight, so I need to figure out a way how to get this 12 volt battery to actually be 12 volts. So that's where this comes in. And this is a DC to DC converter. It takes an input range of 9 to 36 volts and it pushes out 12 volts up to 30 amps. And this should be a super easy way to get a clean 12 volts out of our almost 12 volt battery. So it should be as simple as taking the output and hooking it up to the two pins on the PS5 motherboard. And seeing those exposed pins got me thinking. I have a box full of all types of electrical connectors, including some of these 10 gauge spade connectors, which I think are honestly going to be a perfect fit on the motherboard. And after doing a quick little test fit, it's almost like these were made for it. But before we can plug this into the battery and test this out, it's time to reinstall the fan for proper cooling and also reinstall the USB-C ports on the front I/O. To keep the board off the ground, I got a bunch of these stainless steel standoffs that I go around to all of the holes on the perimeter of the motherboard and attach them with some small little nuts to hold them in place and act like nice little feet. And these will make it easier to install later and also give some nice airflow all around the PS5. Now to test it out, I set up a little test bench with the battery, the DC converter,
You know
and a
what?
monitor, all running through a small
Because
little
this
watt
dude is
meter so we can
complete.
see
Oh,
how
I'm
much
such an
power it's
idiot.
drawing. Then I go ahead and
It
plug it
does
into the PS5 and
complete
wait for the
opposite side
scariest
to
part of
it.
this whole
Oh, I
project.
wish I
Will
could
this
show
thing
this
turn
better.
on or will it be instantly fried? And after what felt like an eternity, the PlayStation logo showed up. We didn't fry our PS5. Nice. Sitting at the main menu, we're pulling right around 70 watts from the battery, and playing Spider-Man, the game that came with our system, we can see that we're pulling right around 190 watts.
That's
Now that
pretty
we
good.
know our PS5 still works and that our DC to DC converter is going to run it beautifully, we just solved how we're going to power this thing on the go. Since I'm turning this into a portable
All right, that works.
PlayStation, we're going to need a case to hold everything, and I landed on this. A super heavy duty yellow case with great clasps and more than enough room on the inside for our PS5 and battery so we can bring this thing wherever we want. But a case filled with a battery and a PS5 isn't going to do us much good without a monitor. So I ended up getting
Wait,
this.
where does
This is a
this one go
17.3
to?
inch
This
monitor.
is
It's 4K
right up to your car.
resolution.
Oh,
It
so
has
this
some
one
nice
goes to
ports
that
on the
too.
outside. It's powered by USB, full size
Oh man, I
HDMI,
should have
and
realized
3.5
that when
millimeter output, and it also fits perfectly on the front of this box right here. Nice.
there we go.
In order to
Wow, this one's
install it in our case, we are going to have
sorry if I talk over the video by accident. I'm still getting used to that. Um, but I just want to say it's amazing sometimes when I do these geometric patterns and I'm designing them out, especially like with my rulers and stuff. Like, excuse me, just this ruler, this type of ruler is like my it's like my SpongeBob spatula, basically. This thing and a compass and actually I'll get my official stuff that I use. Let's see what we got here. We got a bunch of shit. I wish I had my original one, but I don't know what happened to it. I have a full bunch of shit. Wow. I just forgot I had all this. All right. All right. Damn, man. We got like some new um what am I trying to say? Um Clothes washing stuff. Laundry detergent. Oh my god. They got new laundry detergent and it's making me freaking so itchy. So I use a lot of these types of templates. Um these see-through ones are like so freaking awesome. Basically, any type of measuring device or thing that I can use. It's really hard to see this on camera. Wow. Um, that's how I design a lot of these things. But I've been trying to steer more into like doing it all freehand, and that is very hard to do. But this one is not freehand. This one is basically all measured. I mean, it's freehand painted, but designed, it's not. Right. But I just love how these geometric things have symmetry and like I'll show you the books that I found that I've been trying to show to like every other artist because they have become my Bible of art. So these two books I got from Barnes and Noble. Actually, you can probably see it better on this one. Yeah. Design on this one. And they are ridiculous. The amount of information that these contain is like, and it's weird because there's no like author. It's like a combined book of just a ton of stuff. So hold on, let me show you guys. Just like how patterns over the years, different types of patterns, different type of mathematical things that relate to the patterns. Um, I think it's this one that's more. This one's more like it just has so much information about ancient languages, ancient sound, space. Just oh, what the oh, I was gonna paint this, or I did paint part of it. Oh, that's cool. Maybe I'll work on that later. I forgot I was like flattening that thing, but yeah, these books are amazing. I'm gonna actually try to put these in the link on uh on the description since I'm gonna do the videos too. All right. Let's get back to drawing. Oh shit! What's up, big guy? Oh, no worries, dude. I got you. I got you. Um, I know. I came on really late today. Um, I said at the beginning of the stream, I think before you joined, um, I'm really gonna try to stick to a schedule, where I usually come on, and it was like perfect. So I apologize it's so late. It's like, yeah, it's 4 o'clock, about to be nighttime here. Um, but yeah, man, have a good night, and I'll talk. I'll probably be streaming tomorrow. Okay. But I'm gonna throw this video back on.
I have to make some modifications, so I grab myself a piece of poster board and lay the monitor on top and trace around the perimeter of
You too, dude. It's crazy that
it.
stream. Oh, the last stream we got freaking 5 more followers. So we're killing it, man. Thank you for your support too. I appreciate it. All right, peace. Have a good night.
Then I can take some scissors and cut out the shape we just traced and take it over to the case and trace that shape on top of the lid. And now for the fun part, cutting out the shape. I landed on using this. It's an oscillating tool, and all it does, it just jiggles back and forth extremely fast, and I'm hoping that this is going to make quick work of being able to just drop in and cut out the shape of the plastic on the lid. And it ended up working so much better than I could have expected, and it made such quick work at cutting out the shape. I was also surprised to see how thick the walls in the case actually were. This stuff's super heavy duty, way stronger and thicker than I imagined, and it makes me feel a lot better about putting the PS5 inside of here now. After going around and pulling off all of the burrs and doing a little bit of light sanding, we had a perfect spot where we could install our monitor. But we're also going to need a perfect spot where we can install our speakers, because yes, this is going to have its own speaker system as well. I ended up getting 2 of these marine grade speakers. They're supposed to be water resistant. They're 50-watt speakers, 4 ohms, and these should provide enough sound for us to be able to hear whatever we want when we're gaming. But in order to get the speakers to speak, we're going to need a little amplifier, and I got this. It's a small one, it's got left and right channels, and it runs off 12 volts. In order to control the volume, I ended up getting a little inline volume control. It's pretty cool. It's got a little knob in it that you can adjust the volume, and it's designed so you can install it in a hole, which is super convenient, but the connectors on the end, they're a bit bulky. They're these RCA type, and what I really want is I want to change them and swap them out so that there's some 3.5 millimeters instead. And these are going to make things a whole lot easier when connecting up our sound system. Let's get those speakers in there. I mark a spot on the side of the case and take a 3-inch hole saw and begin to chop out a hole. Then I flip the case over on the opposite side, line up a hole just the same, and drill that out as well. Before we can install the speakers in the holes we drilled, they're still missing something. Much better. With our properly painted speakers, I can take one over to the hole we just drilled in our case, drop it in, then I take a marker using the speaker as a guide to mark the 4 corners, so I can take a drill and drill out each of the holes. Then I can drop the speaker back in place, thread in some small machine screws, and bolt it together through the case on the other side.
That looks a little bit better.
With our speaker installed nice and secure, I flip over to the other side of the case, install that speaker just the same.
Oh, I gotta change the focus.
With both of our speakers properly mounted and installed, there's still some more modifications that need to be made to the case. Like for one, the PS5 has a whole lot of connectivity that I don't want to lose. It has an HDMI port, it's got an Ethernet port, it's got a couple of USB ports, and on the other side, it's got the USB Type-C ports. It'd be a total shame if I let
this computer screen is so crappy. I can't tell if it's. Oh, I should just look on the phone. Ow. 1 second. Technical difficulties here. Ooh. All right, we're a little out of focus. Uh, Uh-oh, too much. Too far. Okay. If I can just leave it like that. So this is that side. This is, yeah. Okay.
those ports go to waste, so I ended up getting a whole bunch of these. These are fantastic. I've used them in other projects. They're flush mounts with pass-throughs. This one's for HDMI, USB, and USB Type-C. I also got one for USB and 3.5mm audio, and the last one I got is for an Ethernet port. And these are going to be great for getting signals outside of the case. I want to install the flush mounts right here, so I grabbed myself some hole saws that match the diameter of each of the pieces so I can drill out the holes, slot them in place, and do that for each of them. Then on the inside of the case, I can take the plastic nuts that came with them, tighten them down around the threading to really fix them in place. With all of our ports installed on this side, it's time to flip the case over and install some other things on that side. Even though this has the ability to run off battery, I still want the option to be able to power this from a power supply, so I'm going to be installing this. This is a heavy duty 50 amp quick connect, and this is going to be where I connect up to an external power supply if I just want to use it like a regular console. After drilling the main hole, I take a marker to mark the 4 corners so I can drill them out with a small drill bit, then I can thread in some machine screws and bolt it down through the case. Looking good, but there's still one more thing I need to install under it. This, a small little DC barrel plug, and this is going to allow me to plug in a battery charger to charge up the internal battery. I grab a 1/2 inch drill bit and drill out a hole so I can slide in the barrel plug, and on the other side I tighten it down with a little metal included nut. And just like that, we have both of our power ports, one for charging the battery and the other for getting external power. The enclosure's looking better and better every step. But it's still missing something, because the PS5, it's going to be putting off a whole lot of heat. So to keep it nice and cool, it's time to install some small little fans on the side so we can get some nice cross breeze going through the whole system.
Wait a dang second. We got 2 people watching, I think. Yeah. Shout out to whoever's watching. Thank you. It might be myself, but if it's not, thank you. And man, if we get one more follower, I don't even know what's gonna happen. Like, I think there's an alert set up or something's gonna happen. But that would be really cool if we hit 10 today on our 25th anniversary stream. Yeah, I'll even dance. You know what? This would be our 10 or 10 follower goal, right? What? I wonder what the next goal is going to be. 25? That seems like so many people. Even 10's a lot of people. Holy moly. All right, but I love everybody. Thank you, everybody. Back to the video.
Keep everything nice and even, I grab myself a ruler so I can mark a couple places so I can take a nice hole saw and drill out a hole the exact size as the opening of each of the fans. Then using the included fan grill as a guide, I place it over each of the holes to mark the 4 corners. Then I drill out the marks. To keep things like debris and fingers from hitting the fan blades, I got some of these small little mesh fan filters. I installed the fans on the inside with some machine screws, then the filters, then the fans on top, and tightening it all down with a couple nuts. With the fans installed on this side, it's time to flip over the enclosure and install 2 more fans on the opposite side. And these are here to ensure that the PS5 stays nice and cool by bringing in cool air and venting out hot air. The next part to install in the case is going to be the power switch, and I got a pretty cool one. It's a super heavy duty switch. It's rated for 30 amps at 12 volts, which is honestly quite a bit. It's also a 3-position switch, so one side's going to be for battery power, the other side's going to be for external power, and the middle is going to be off. I also got a metal mounting plate for it, which is going to make it easier to install in the case. Using the faceplate as a guide, I place it where I want the switch to be and trace out the area with a marker. Then I can take the oscillating tool again, which honestly looks pretty funny on camera, and I use it to cut through the plastic. Then I drill out 4 holes for the corners so I can attach the faceplate with some machine screws. And now when we're ready to install the switch, we can easily just slot it into the faceplate and it's going to lock in place. Pretty cool. It's time to install the monitor. Since I want to be able to lug this thing wherever I want to have a little bit of protection for the monitor, so I ended up getting this. It's a piece of clear acrylic, and this is going to keep the monitor nice and safe. In order to install the acrylic, I go around with the ruler and mark some evenly spaced points all around the opening on the front. Then I drill them all out. To make sure everything's going to line up perfectly, I ended up making a little guide out of a piece of poster board and taking a pencil and tracing out all of the holes I just drilled, and this is going to allow a foolproof way for me to transfer the holes I drilled on the top to the piece of acrylic underneath, so everything's going to line up beautifully. I was a bit nervous having to drill through the acrylic because I was worried it was just going to shatter, but it ended up being super easy and turned out really clean. Before I can install the piece of acrylic on the lid, I want to make a protective barrier using some of this alien tape. It's like a thick double-sided sticky tape, and I place it along the edges of the opening. Then I take a bunch of tiny machine screws and push them through the openings through the layer of alien tape into all of the holes. I can carefully unwrap the piece of acrylic, slide it into place over each of the screws, and taking a bunch of small little washers and nuts, I attach it down firmly to the opening on the case. Now I can grab the monitor and carefully lay it on top of the sheet of acrylic. In order to hold the monitor in place, I end up getting a thin bar of aluminum, but we are going to have to modify it a bit. I take some measurements of the distance between each screws on the sides and mark it on the bar. I cut out 2 identical lengths so I can line it up, mark where I need to drill some holes in the sides, then I can drill them out. But before I install the aluminum bars behind the monitor, I want to add a strip of the double-sided tape on each of the back sides, and this is going to act as a cushion and also a way to really hold the monitor in place so it's not going to be moving around. Then I can take some washers and nuts and tighten down the aluminum bars, and we have our monitor firmly installed. Nice. This is the point that I remembered I forgot to install the volume control. And it's super simple to install. I just grab the correct size hole saw, pop out the hole, slot in the control knob, and on the other side, I tighten it down with the plastic nut that was included. And now we have a super clean and easy way to change the volume from the outside of the case. This is starting to look...
I gotta say, just this may seem random, but this man, I am so thirsty. I'm sorry. 1 second. This phone link thing on like new window, or I don't even know. I haven't had like a computer in such a long time that I mean, I guess Windows 11 is pretty new, but I don't know if this was with like Windows before, but the new like phone link thing is so sick. It just like automatically linked. I have a Samsung, and it's like you literally get a view of the phone screen. You can open any of your apps and have it run like in the screen on here, and any messages or calls I get go right in through this. So I don't even have to like mess with my phone. Actually, really convenient. I don't know how much of like it's taxing my computer, but I gotta say this thing can actually run like pretty good for it's not really like made for this. All right, sorry.
so cool. But a cool case isn't going to be much without this. I mean, I could just open the thing up, throw the PS5 and battery inside and call it a day, but I want a strong base and foundation to attach all the components to. So I landed on this, a nice big yellow cutting board. This thing is thick, it's heavy duty, and it should be perfect for mounting all of our components. And it also fits inside the case super perfect and satisfying. Nice. Since I want this board to be firmly attached inside the case, I decided I was going to attach it with some machine screws, so I begin by marking out a whole bunch of evenly spaced points on the bottom of the case. Then I can go around and drill out all of the holes. And I gotta be honest, drilling through all of this yellow plastic kinda makes me feel like I'm drilling through a block of cheese. Whoops. With the holes drilled out, I need a way to transfer them perfectly to the cutting board, and I decided to use a simple method of just taking some of the double-sided tape and literally sticking the cutting board down to the base so that I can flip it over and drill through the holes I drilled out a second ago. And this is a super simple way to ensure that all the holes are going to line up when I go to install the cutting board later. Now when we open up the case, we can see we transferred over all the holes from the bottom onto the cutting board. Now I can pop it out and I can begin to install all of the major components on the cutting board, starting with the battery. I marked 4 spaces on the side of the battery so I could take a drill and drill them all out. And these holes are going to be for these large bolts that are going to help hold the battery in place. And using some more of that aluminum bar, I cut and drill out some lengths of it that slit perfectly over the bolts. And using some washers and wing nuts, we can use them to tighten down our battery to the cutting board, nice and secure. Before I attach the PlayStation to the board, since I'm planning on installing it in this small little container, I am a bit concerned about cooling this thing, so I think it's only fair if we give our PlayStation a little bit of a cooling hand. I ended up with a huge pile of fans, including these ones right here. They're pretty cool. They're little electric fans that have heat sinks on the back of them, and they also have a nice thermal adhesive, which will make it super simple to install. I also got a couple of these fans. They're blower fans, so they're more directional, and I think they're going to be really useful at pointing the air exactly where I want it. I also got a handful of aluminum heat sinks. They have nice long cooling fins on them, and they also have the thermal adhesive on the back, which is going to make them super easy to install. Let's get to cooling this thing down. The first thing I want to do is I actually want to take this main fan and flip it upside down. And lucky enough, the fan doesn't mind being installed upside down. It still fits this direction, and I just tighten it down with some small machine screws, and the wire can still reach the connector. Super nice. The whole point of flipping the fan upside down is so I can use it as a little table so I can mount the blower fans on top. To make it a little more stable, I take some of that leftover plastic from cutting open the hole in the monitor and cut out a piece of it that perfectly lines up with the fan. Then I can take some double-sided tape and place them on top of the fan. I also drilled in some small holes so I could attach it with some tiny machine screws as well. With the base plate nice and secure, I can take the blower fans, place on some double-sided tape, and stick them down so they're pointed directly at the heat sinks to keep them extra cool when they're inside the case. The whole point of the heat sinks are to take heat away from this main die area right here, because this is where most of the heat is produced. To help cool this area, I'm going to be
Oh
installing
yeah.
these fans, and since they have the adhesive backing, they're super easy to install. I just place them
Oh, that
directly
feels
on the
so
heat
good.
pipes, and the adhesive, it's also super strong. Let's give some cooling to the back of this board. The first thing I notice is that this back heat pipe, it feels a little
Why?
flimsy, so I'm going to
Why
just
does that
take some
feel so
thermal
good?
adhesive, cut out a rectangle of it that matches the shape, and just stick it down to the base
Ow.
of the motherboard, just so this thing isn't flopping around when I'm
All right.
carrying it. I take the other two
Holy
heatsink
crap.
fans I have, and I stick them down to the bottom of the motherboard, directly under where the main chip is. Then I take one of the passive heat sinks and I stick it down in a good area as well. And I add one more of the passive heat sinks on this flat spot right here. Now this is
Damn.
one cool
Those are gonna hoping
PS5.
that to
Let's
explode.
get this thing on the board.
Oh no.
Using a marker, I trace around every one of the metal feet. Then I can take a drill bit that's the same diameter as the feet and drill out all the holes so
All right.
that when I take the
Something's not
PS5 and
going
set
very
it back on the
correctly
board, I can
when
squish
I
down
go
and push the standoffs into the
back.
holes. Then I can flip the board up, revealing the thread on the bottom
Like I
of the
need to go
standoffs,
back on
so I can
this,
take
but
some thread
it
locker,
doesn't
some small machine screws, and
seem to
tighten them
line
down
up
to the bottom of the
right.
standoffs. And this is going to keep the PS5 locked in place
Right?
so it won't fall off the cutting board. I ended up getting
Yeah,
a
flip
whole
it
bunch
that
of
way.
these right
Flip
angle
that.
adapters. They're just going to make the wire management and being able to plug things in a whole lot easier
I think
once we
it's
have the
supposed to be
PS5
up
installed in the
here.
case. With the
I don't know if
PS5
it'll
firmly
here.
attached, it's time to bring out all the other components. Like these, I ended up
It's
getting a
weird
set
because
of
it
bus bars,
works.
which is going to make
But
it a whole
like
lot easier
even if
to
it works,
distribute power to all the components. There's also the sound
doesn't
amplifier, and to power the monitor, I ended up getting this. It's a USB-C power delivery port, and it runs right off of a 12-volt battery. And lastly, our DC to DC converter. I mark where the holes line up on the
there we
converter and the bus bars so I can drill out the holes.
go.
Then using some small screws, I tighten down the components directly into the cutting board. As for the amp and the USB-C port, it'll be easier to install those later. Before I can install the cutting board in the case, I have to add a little bit of cushion. So I got some thin foam with adhesive on the back, and I build up a layer of foam all over the holes in the bottom of the case. Then I take some of that clear double-sided tape and build up a couple layers of that. The reason for all this tape and foam, it's going to act as a bit of a shock absorber for the PS5. It's also going to act as a spacer for the bolts on the battery mount so they're not squished against the ground. It's finally time to bring it all together. I drop the PS5 board perfectly into the bottom of the case. Then using some machine screws, I drop one in each of the holes in the corner to make sure that the cutting board's perfectly lined up.
Yeah, that's
I can
insane.
then flip the case up and begin the process of threading in the machine screws and bolting it together through the back of the case and through the top of the cutting board. After installing so many
Wow.
of these machine screws, we can see that the cutting board and the case are now firmly attached together. Since I'm going to be
That's
installing the
sick.
battery here, the little ends of the
That's a
screws are
lot
in
of
the
work.
way, so I have to make a
Try to
little
just like,
cushion out of some tape
oh,
just to keep the battery off the screws. Now, before it gets too crazy in here with all the
sorry about that. I gotta really work on that. I think maybe eventually if I get one of those little what's it called, an XLR or Stream Deck? I forget what it's called. It's the thing with the buttons on it that you can program and like have it switch scenes or like make it a delete button or whatever. But yeah, I could do so many cool things with something like that. All right, I will continue. Or you know what? I don't want to pilfer this guy's entire video. Um, so why don't I go to a shorter video? But I will link this one in the description. If you'd like to see the rest of that. Um, I feel weird like using somebody's entire video or something. I don't know. I don't know what to do. All right. How about Too Lazy to Try? Yeah,
So guess what?
he's awesome.
When you see someone as amazing as Wes Watson on your screen, you couldn't.
Dude, Wes Watson. My God. What a ego driven, hurt little man. It is crazy how insecure somebody can be while being so delusional, thinking that they are the most secure person on earth, you know? Like, it's just bananas.
Fathom how it could be real. It's gotta be all fake. Because I could never even understand how the someone would pay $95,000 a month in rent. So I'm just gonna talk
What
shit
a
that he
minute.
rents his pad, and I'm gonna fully just skip over the understanding that I
Yeah,
don't have
power.
95,000 a month, and I'm in his comments all buck-toothed and cross-eyed, all he fucking rents his pad.
Really?
All right, so Wes Watson has been continuing to struggle with the haters. It's gotten so
The
bad, his
haters.
parents are DMing people, threatening to sue them for making fun of Wes. You know, the
No.
big bad alpha male, Wes Watson, needs his mom and all his minions to defend him because he keeps getting gadooshed by his haters.
The guy used the word gadooshing. The guy said that they're on there gadooshing me.
And as you can tell, it's causing him to just lose it, which is
No, he should just be a stand-up comedian, man. Or like, oh my God. If he is playing a character, which I don't think he is, I think he really is like that. It's just fucking insane.
hilarious to watch. I mean, he has a meltdown every day
Exactly.
on Instagram over the dumbest shit, and he's just so easy to troll. Like, he's always responding to the haters, and now he keeps doing impressions of them. And it's just so funny to think this is somebody's life coach. You know, people are paying this guy
Yeah.
$6,000 a month to get advice from him.
Yeah, that's the real scenario. That's real close to
What
your life,
idiot is
stupid.
playing him?
Huh. This is about Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk. They want to be all up in your personal lives. Why? Because theirs suck bad. So they're like, hey, but what is that? Is that a new girl? Ah! He fucking rents his plan.
Dude, he's insane.
Like, this guy really convinces people to go into credit card debt to pay for his course. And it's so funny because you can
Really?
tell when he starts to lose clients or business isn't going well because he starts flipping out about how people are broke losers for not having tens of thousands of dollars to give him. And he always tries to make it seem like it's not a lot of money by talking about how much money he has and how 20,000 is nothing to him, but he only has this money because of the broke losers that pay him. So that's why I get so worked up about it, because he needs their money. And it's funny because his strategy is to yell at people who are barely scraping by and be like, look how rich I am. I'm driving around in a Lambo. 20,000 is nothing, so give it to me, which is so backwards. You know, it's like, you're broke, I'm rich, give me money, you
Whoa.
idiot.
The fact that there's
Is the
so
stream going
many
down?
fucking grown men and women who don't have
I can't
20
see.
fucking grand.
I don't know.
Oh my God, that would be lame. Holy shit. Do you know most people I know got millions? Like, and we're not special. Like, we're at the bottom. Like, having some M's is whatever. And you motherfuckers don't have 20
Oh,
grand and say it's
hey, what's up, man? How you doing? Thanks for joining in.
expensive.
Oh, appreciate it. Um, just doing a little just doing a little painting and a little YouTube reacting right now before I get some dinner and in a bit, but just a little chill stream. How you doing?
And the program doesn't even start at, it starts at $3,000. You guys. Because I don't even understand how the you can have so little self-worth that in your one motherfucking life, you would choose to be a fucking peasant. It's fucking crazy. Who the fuck thinks that lowly of themselves?
Yeah, so that's Wes driving around in a Lamborghini and a Bugatti, yelling about how peasants don't want to give him money, which he needs to afford the Bugatti. Like, imagine spending all your money to finance this guy's lifestyle. You know, it's like, I'm sick of being a peasant. Let me help this guy pay off his Bugatti. That should help. And people think if they pay him, then they'll get to hang out with him or something. So he has to lecture them about that too, because they obviously expect more if they're paying $20,000. But Wes, he only does like a 20-minute call, if that, because he doesn't want to talk to these people. So if someone asks him how much one-on-one time they get, he flips out and acts like it's an insane question because that's probably the most asked question, and he's sick of hearing it. So he has to lecture them and try to convince them all it takes is 20 minutes, and he can teach you how to be a millionaire.
Wait. Here's the best one. This is how a dumb fucking 9-to-5er thinks. Well, how much time do I actually get to spend with you? What the fuck? We're going for fucking results here. We're going for value-driven results. What if what I know took me 20 minutes to tell you, and you would make millions and millions and millions? Would you fight to have your money be exchanged for time still? That's how fucking you know you're stupid. You guys are fucking psychopaths. If you're like, wait, how much of my money am I exchanging for your time? You fucking idiots. If you think that way, that's the first understanding that you're a fucking dumb shit 9-to-5er.
Yeah, and he can't spend too much time with his clients because he's busy. You know, he's got a lot going on, and he needs to get back to coping with getting gadooshed by his haters. That's more important stuff.
That they all sit there and gadoosh me. Oh my fuck. Oh my God. Imagine this stud, this ringleader of Reddit reviewers who gadoosh me. Oh, the world we live in today. No fucking way.
Yeah, so he's been going through it recently. I guess it's not easy getting gadooshed every day on Reddit. You know, it's a tough life for Wes. Even driving around in his supercars is now starting to take a toll on him. The poor guy has sore feet from driving around in his Bugatti. That's seriously what he was complaining about on Instagram recently. You know how difficult it is to drive around in supercars all day, which I'm pretty sure he's just driving for the sake of driving half the time. You know, he's not even going anywhere. Like, he's just driving so he can record a video in his car.
I just don't even fucking want to. My feet hurt. You guys don't realize driving hypercars and supercars and SVJ or a Bugatti or something, that shit whoops your ass. Fuck, by the time you get in and out the motherfucker, you sit in it for 45 minutes, your back's blasted. You gas it a few times, you drive like an asshole, you're gripping the fucking floor with your feet and shit. Sometimes you just gotta take your fucking shoes off and put them on the fucking fluffy ass carpet.
So now he's basically just complaining about being rich. Like, this is supposed to be an alpha male, but he's talking about how his feet are hurting from driving. So he needs someone else to drive so he can rub his feet on the fluffy carpet. Like, these are the biggest problems Wes deals with. You know, his feet hurting from driving and his Reddit haters gadooshing him. And then he has the audacity to talk about how everybody else is getting too soft. I mean, this guy just gets triggered by everything. Like, recently he had a meltdown over some balloon filter on Instagram. You know, first it was the leaf blower, and now it's balloons he's getting triggered by. It's hilarious. But apparently this is how an alpha male is supposed to act, and you can learn how to be like this for only $6,000 a month.
When you inspire them, when you give them a workable path that will change these balloons. Damn it! I hate that shit. When you give someone a workable path, this is the most sought after spot to live in Miami. besides like Star Island and maybe hibiscus or palm. But there's Star Island, there's hibiscus and Palm Island, and then there's San Marco, San Marino, Delito, and Revo Alto. Fuck these fucking balloons. How the fuck do you turn that shit off? And who the fuck designed that shit so we can put their head under my foot real quick?
Yeah, so Wes gets triggered by a lot, and it's always hilarious. I mean, ironically, he might be one of the funniest people on the internet, and he's just a
Dude, that's what I'm saying. He is I guess ironically one of the funniest people, but he's not trying to be. Dude, what a clown, man. If he is playing a character, then he's a genius, but I
the
don't think he
best to
is.
troll. Like, he makes it so easy. I mean, this Reddit user messaged him a month ago about his course, and he's
Oh
just messing
no.
with him. He's like, how long until I start renting escorts and yelling at people on Instagram and flipping out at leaf blowers? So then Wes got all pissed, and he's like, oh, you're just
Oh
one of those
no.
haters from Reddit. But apparently he
Haters.
didn't block the guy, so he messaged him again. You know, the same guy on the same phone number messaged
What?
Wes, and he's like, I'm interested in your coaching. Can you let me know the details? And Wes fell for it again. He's like, what's up,
Oh
bro?
my
What's your main
god.
focus? And he's like, basically, I'm
What a
5'5",
dumbass.
240, and I eat cupcakes and chips all day, and I beat my stick 8 times a day and do some other disgusting stuff. And Wes is like, are you messing with me, or do you really do that last part? Don't waste my time. And he said, I really do it. So then Wes sent him a rundown of his course. And the guy's like, all right, I'll do 12 months for 40,000. He's like, great, you need it. He's like, first I have a couple questions. Do I need a leaf blower? Do I run escorts? Do I run supercars? Do I
Oh,
run a mansion? Do I beef with Reddit users all day? And then Wes
bro.
responded and said, I knew you were a troll. And it's like, yeah, he already did the same exact thing to you. And if you knew he's a troll, then why are you wasting your time with him? And then
Yeah.
the guy just responded with a leaf blower. And Wes is like, you're a weirdo. I'm blocking you now. Yeah, so it's getting tough out there for Wes.
Actually, if Wes was really this big businessman, alpha male, why is he answering the phone calls? Like, I'm pretty sure, like, successful business people and like people up that are like high up there, they have people that do that for you, you know? So I don't know. It just seems weird. I think his whole lifestyle is fake. I think all that shit's rented. I think, you know, it's like this mold that these alpha male guys just come out with. It's like they've probably been scamming people their whole life, and it's just the newest scam, you know?
And recently he's really disappointed because originally he thought one of his haters was going to finally pull up at the gym in person, but they didn't
Oh,
show up, and he's really
man, I'm an idiot. I knew I forgot to do something. So I think I did this the last stream, but let's just take a quick little break for the channel's first and only subscribe sponsor. Bing 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 bing. W Energy. W Energy. Um oh W Ener W Energy. There we go. And if you use code GOODBAD, you get 10% off. Or actually right now it's they're doing a Black Friday sale. And yeah, let me bring that up real quick. Oh, Jesus Christ, what just happened? Um 1 second. Yeah, so right now they're doing a Black Friday best sale of the year right now with if you use code BF 2024. But if you just use my link that I'll have in the description, that will um that will go to like my thingy to like help me out. Even if you just don't use the coupon code, if you just click on my link, it'll help me out a bunch. But shout out to Dubby for the first um channel sponsor, and I should be getting some stuff in the mail soon from them that will that I can show off. So we shall see. We shall see. All right. Thank you guys. And let's continue the video.
Disappointed because he said he's looking forward to getting a BJ from them.
Kind of sucks. I heard some fictional stories online that one of these guys was going to show up here on Saturday at 8 a.m. and nobody's here. I was going to get a BJ before Arm Day, but now I just got to go hit arms. Thought it was going to be baby Arm Day.
Yeah, so I think he might be starting to miss prison a little
He's
bit.
gay.
I mean, the way he talks about it, it's like he enjoyed his time in there. You know, he kind of brags about it. Like, he'll talk about embarrassing shit he did in there, like shoving stuff up his ass, and he'll act like it's something to be proud of. Because, I mean, people will
Interesting.
question his stories, and some people didn't believe that he actually hooped his paperwork. Because other people who have been to prison said there's just no reason to do that, like it's not necessary. And then also,
what?
they just don't think it's possible, like it's way too big. But Wes, it's crazy. He's like, no, I did it. Trust me. You know,
shoved
he's
it up
trying to
his butt.
convince people that he shoved a bunch of paper up his ass for no reason.
Oh, he didn't believe that you hooped your paperwork. A lot of people have kind of made a meme out of
Oh, dude, you wrap it up this big. Like, you get like a 128G, and you get copies of your 128G, which is your paperwork. You fold it over so many times, it's this big. Look at it's this big. You put a glove around it 3 or 4 times. You twist it up and you shove it up your ass.
And do you just stop thinking about it after a while?
Yeah, then you go to the next place, you shit out, you got your paperwork, and now you don't have to wait for it. And it's this big.
Right.
This one guy was like rolling up a paper like this. How's he gonna put this up his ass? I'm like, dude, are you from Tennessee or what, dog?
And the only reason I think this could be true is
Tennessee.
because I don't know why you'd want to
What's
make
that?
up something like this, like why you'd want to tell this embarrassing story that's
Yeah.
not even true. But maybe he thinks this is just an alpha move for some reason. And I think Wes might have actually enjoyed hooping his paperwork because I heard recently in John Bravo's new video, he makes good Wes videos, make sure you check out his channel. He said that he talked to Wes's ex-wife and she said that Wes likes to get pegged. And then also there's some other old Wes videos where he's talking about some
knew it.
sus behavior in prison. And again, it's like maybe he's
got
making
down
this
in
up,
prison.
but why would he want to? You know, it's so weird to make this stuff up. And it's also weird that he's talking about this in a
Yeah, him
public
and Ian
park,
Ross
like
should
with
hook
people
up.
walking by.
I mean,
You know,
like,
they love to see them buttholes. They want you to wink at them the whole nine. So I gotta show them. They want to see. They only know you by your butthole in there. They see my face and they're like, "Oh, who are you again?" And then I just bend over. I show them the butthole. "Oh, Wes Watson, how you doing, bro? What's up? Nice to meet you again." And it's a weird. I don't understand why they like that. I don't know why they would
it looks like he's about to pop.
want to do that, but whatever. To each their own. Like
I
I've
feel
said
like if you
before,
like
to each
put a
their
pin
own.
in it, he
Yeah,
would
so
just,
Wes
like,
is surprisingly
explode.
open-minded, and I know he lies about some of his time in prison, but it would be so weird for him to make this stuff up, but I also wouldn't put it past him. And, you know, he honestly might just think this makes him look hard somehow, but it just makes him look hard for other men. But let me know what you guys think, and then make sure you check out my Patreon account if you enjoyed this video. There are over 100 exclusive videos on there, and I talked about Wes and his breakup with his escort and the downfall of Fresh and Fit, and also recently Burt Kreischer got roasted by Adam Ray, and there's a ton of other stuff. There's a lot to go through. If you like the channel, make sure you check it out. There'll be a link in the description.
All right, guys and girls. I don't know if there's ever been a girl that watched this my channel. I don't think so. Let's see what we got here. Look at my channel. All right. Breaking. Say my name. Breaking Banquet. What are we watching? What are we watching? What? God, I wish I could play music. It's so freaking annoying. Can you play music on Twitch? Because I might just like not even stream on YouTube anymore. Because I stream on both, so I kind of wanted to wait and see like which would be better, and I get no views on YouTube, and they have like the strictest policies. So like I don't know I don't know what else to do. All right, I should probably pick something. Wait, what?
You read the title, you saw the thumbnail, and yes, that is not a mistake.
Tell
I
me
did
about it.
have to jump through some hoops to make this happen, but
Okay.
jump I did. I
Tell
have
me.
2 PS5s.
All right, his name is. This channel name is. Marketing for Normal People. Only has 26 likes. Oh, he only has 182 subscribers. He's a small channel like me. I mean, I'm like a non-existent channel actually. So, but yeah, shout out to him. I'll put his link in the description after I do the video. I still don't know how to.
right here, and I love Black Friday. Frosty air, a quick stop at Panera Bread for a bagel, all of the deals all at once. Honestly, it's fun to get a great deal, but it's even more fun after you've been waiting in a line for it and you've been hyped for it for hours or days or weeks, and then also you beat out some other people to the deal. It's such a rush of dopamine. I'm a pretty frugal person, but man, Black Friday speaks to my soul. I just hate buying almost anything not around Black Friday.
I gotta say, I fucking hate Black Friday. I've worked retail many different times in my life on Black Friday, and it has been absolute hell. I've worked Walmart Black Friday before. I've worked so many different places, but the only deal I've ever got on Black Friday that was actually worth it was this Blu-ray player that I got from Walmart. And this was like back when Blu-ray players were like super expensive, like they were like $200 or $300 and like your best option was just to get like a PS3. But I forget why I needed one. I had a 360 at the time, so I didn't have a Blu-ray player, but I got this I think it was a LG Blu-ray player for $20. And it was like the last one, and it was like one of the best deals in the store, and somebody had hidden it behind a bunch of boxes on another shelf. And so I came later in the day after everything had been picked through, and I found that behind a bunch of stuff, and I was still able to buy it for $20, and it was so sick. And then Cyber Monday, when I worked at Amazon, I did get some cool stuff. I also won some cool stuff from work at different times, but for the most part, Black Friday is not my favorite holiday of consumerism. Oh man, I just want to get this freaking pencil done so I can start painting.
At a time because the price is almost always better
I'm very
around
slow, I'm
Black
sorry.
Friday. So when Black Friday comes around, I keep my eyes peeled looking for those deals. I'm watching the ads, I'm seeing what's up, scoping out what I want. And this year, I wanted to get a PS5. And it looks like I
Dude, that's a
overachieved
crazy
little bit.
deal.
I'm going to take one of these off of the desk just so I have a little bit more room.
Obviously, it's not a Pro, but
Okay,
who
there we
fucking
go.
cares? The Pro sucks.
Now,
Like,
continuing.
the price
I wanted to get a
value of it.
PS5 this year, and normally PS5s cost roughly $500 for the disk drive version. That's their MSRP, what they typically go at for retail. Now, that is $50 more than the digital-only version, so the digital-only version is $50 less, so $450. But the disk drive version is typically worth it because in true frugal fashion, you can do things if you have a disk drive, like buy a used game on eBay or at GameStop or something, and then sell it once you're done with it for a few dollars less than what you paid for it. So it's a pretty economical way to do things. So the disk drive version is probably the one to go with for frugal people like myself. Now, today, when I am recording this video, today is not Black Friday. Today is 1 week before November 29th, which is the official Black Friday for this year. However, to play Black Friday right, to play the Black Friday game correctly, you want to make sure that your eyes are locked in
Dude,
for those
what is going
early
on
deals
here?
too. In most cases, that's not because you'll necessarily get a better price.
why it's
Typically, the
stopped
best
lining
possible
up.
prices happen around Black Friday, but they're typically always on
I'm gonna
Black
go
Friday.
check
But
this way.
it's because
See
the
if I
really
can-
good deals can run out of stock and be very hard to find on
wait.
Black Friday itself. And sometimes you can't even make it to every store that you want to
lining
go
up on
to
that
on
side or
Black
that
Friday.
side? I think it
So
was
if you have the
lining up like
opportunity
this
to jump in
before.
early, you do it. If there
Shit.
is, in fact, a better deal on Black Friday proper, then you
Oh.
can always return whatever you bought early, or stores like Best Buy and Target have holiday price match guarantees. So if an item that you bought gets a lower price between the time of
That's
purchase and Christmas,
opposite.
they'll refund you the difference. So if you strategize it right, early Black Friday deals can really help you out. Now, that said, this video is about a very specific deal.
Opposite.
Spoilers,
Okay.
I got this PS5 right here for $170,
I think
plus
it's just 'cause
tax
it's
and all
so
that good stuff.
smaller.
Now,
That's okay,
maybe
that's
you're
what it
here
is.
just for a great PS5 Black Friday story, and that's great. But this channel is primarily about helping business owners and marketers, and don't worry, I have some
Actually, that'd be kind of cool. Yeah, I'm gonna put that description. I'm gonna put this video in the description. I'm gonna look up like a story, okay? Don't make fun of my history, okay? I have an 8-year-old daughter. All right. Oh yeah, I want to look into like a story, like a cool story, like a sci-fi story. Ooh, sci-fi story. What the hell is this?
The human child's brain splattered across the Galactic Council floor as the alien executioner coldly fired his disruptor. That innocent blood unleashed humanity's
comments?
fury and brought forth the full wrath.
It's AI. I don't like it. God damn it. I want somebody to like actually read it to me. Oh, I have an idea. Um, ow. Oh, wait, no, I want his other channel. Whoops. Um, wait, where's his, where do you look at like other, oh, podcast. This is, oh, there we go. John Michael God, yeah, there we go. I love this guy, man. He is like the best voiced, and he gets like so many things into my head that like I don't know, just like it gives me visual ideas for stuff, you know? So how about we do 10 interesting scientific discoveries for November 2024 by John.
Scientific discoveries are coming at breakneck
By John
speed
Michael
from all
Gaudier.
fields, and
Sorry.
November continues that trend.
Like,
So here are 10
okay,
new
let's see
scientific
what's going on.
discoveries for November 2024. Number 10. The Lake Michigan Holes. It never ceases to amaze me about this, but it's actually true when it is said that we know more about space than we do about Earth's oceanic environments. We have a lot of work to do with the aquatic environments of this world. It's more than just the oceans, and that's not even getting to the aquatic environments of other worlds within our star system. The moons like Europa and Enceladus and many others that seem to harbor subsurface oceans. But the great freshwater lakes of Earth also hold aquatic mysteries that have yet to be solved, and even more perhaps that remain to be discovered. One of these is Lake Michigan. We actually have mapped the surface of Mars to much higher resolution than we have the bottom of Lake Michigan.
Hold on.
Recently,
Oh my goodness. What just happened? Huh? We hit the follower goal. Oh my god. Holy shit. Hi, on my other video. Hold on, let me see. Dude, we hit the 10. Thank you so much. Thank you. That's so sick. Dude. So sick. Oh man. I was like, what is that noise? I've never heard that noise before. Alright. Just so this is I have to like reset this thing or hold on. I'm gonna just look at my Twitch real quick. Dude, this is so cool. Dude, 10 followers. That is insanity. Here, I'll look up see if dude, 10 followers. That is insanity. Oh god, I'm double playing. Here, I'll look up see if stop it. Okay, there we go. Okay. Dang it. How do I update my creator dashboard? This isn't showing, right? Okay. Stream manager. Where's the goals? We did it, guys. What? Oh, automatically level up goal upon achievement. Oh. There we go. Oh, okay, so it'll just like wait, what? Why can't I edit it? Oh, I have to end the goal. Okay, I see. Now we make a new goal. Okay, so we're gonna go with 25 now. Oh man, I can't believe this. This is so insane. Yeah, help me get to affiliate, dude. Whoa, there's more noises. Oh. All right. Give me 1 second. Uh, is this like a religious thing? What is this about? Okay. I'm not really I don't know, I'm not really into that. Sorry, man. I'll look into it a little bit more in a second. I just let me get this video going.
NOAA researchers
Dude,
working
so
in the
crazy.
Wisconsin Shipwreck Coast and National Marine Sanctuary discovered a group of sinkholes in Lake Michigan. This is not unheard of. Similar sinkholes have been found at the bottom of Lake Huron, and the Huron sinkholes actually have some very interesting microbial environments going on. This also seems to be the case with Lake Michigan. Officially discovered with sonar, the Lake Michigan sinkholes stretch for miles, and some of them had been noticed previous to this by shipwreck explorers. The researchers confirmed that they were in fact natural sinkholes, and lie at a depth of about 450 feet, just off the coast of Sheboygan, Wisconsin, extending north in a line. They average between 300 and 600 feet across, and mostly are nearly perfect circles. And they currently total about 40 known, but there are likely more. What happens is that groundwater dissolves the bedrock, and the whole thing collapses into a hole, by first groundwater creating a cavern in the limestone strata until the cavern collapses, thus the sinkhole. This type of situation should be fairly dead. It's cold and the water is low in oxygen. so much of Earth's life that exists in lakes cannot exist here. That actually serves to preserve wooden shipwrecks in the Great Lakes, but it's not completely dead. Freshwater shrimp, perhaps disturbingly known as opossum shrimp, and a certain small fish known as a deep-sea water sculpin live there, along with invasive, nearly indestructible, non-indigenous quagga mussels, and lots of microorganisms can still survive under these conditions. But it's still unknown just what types of microbes are down there. There are certainly some types of cyanobacteria that actually compete across the day for sunlight with another group of bacteria in a kind of dance of survival. But the groundwater meeting the lake water is interesting because it's a bit different of a sulfur-rich chemistry than what might usually be expected. What else lies in the depths of these sinkholes to discover remains to be seen. I wonder what else lives there. Number 9. The mildly intoxicated hornet. The species Vespa orientalis is a type of hornet that has a diet consisting of nectar like many insects, but also likes ripe fruit like grapes. The thing is, fruits contain sugars that naturally ferment into ethanol, the same alcohol and process that wine is made with. Lots of animals actually do eat fermenting fruit, but they usually can't handle more than 4% ethanol, and one wonders what they feel like the morning after eating a lot of that. But the hornets were different. They had an alcohol tolerance that was through the roof and could handle up to 80% without their behavior or lifespan changing in the least. And that 80% solution was artificial. It's 4 times more than what is found in nature with fermentation. You would think these hornets would be dropping out of the air and wallowing on the ground before passing out, but they don't. And the answer seems to be their genetics, in that they have a gene in great abundance that functions to break down alcohol. So the hornets process it very rapidly, and more, within their digestive tract, brewer's yeast was found to be active, which also helps here, and is what is used to brew beer. This adaptation allows the wasps to eat fermenting fruit that's too far gone from most other animal life, and process it much faster, opening up an actually very nutritious food source, as ethanol can be nutritious in this case when broken down, so long as the intoxicating effects are negated. Number 8. Dinosaur feathers were useful. Over the course of my life, as new discoveries in paleontology have come to light, our view of the dinosaurs has changed dramatically. What I saw in books in the early 1980s, lumbering, oversized reptiles like T-Rex dragging its tail, are now seen as dynamic, hot-blooded arch predators with stereo vision and amazing complexity, which to me makes them that much more scary. I would not want to run into a T-Rex. And then came the feathers. It's now known that some dinosaurs, T-Rex included, had at least partial feathering, further bolstering their already strong link to modern birds. But what function those feathers had with an animal like T-Rex wasn't all that clear, until now. Very small 120 million year old fossil tracks have been uncovered in South Korea that seem to paint a picture of this. The dinosaurs and the birds split before this, and dinosaurs themselves that had feathers did not seem to possess wingspans that would have allowed flight like the birds. But the feathers may have been more useful than just for show and reproduction. The tracks seem to suggest that whatever dinosaur left them, thought to be a small raptor, could cover an unusual amount of ground in gliding leaps assisted by their feathers, and probably also could break and turn and do all sorts of things with them, giving us further insight into the age of the dinosaurs and what was really going on. Again, not sure I would want to come up against a small, aggressive dinosaur with teeth that could glide like that. Number 7. The Mars Battery. Batteries have always been problematic, though they are getting better. We've used them for decades and improved them, but that took a lot of work to perfect, and there's still room for more. That's sort of a problem for space exploration because batteries can recharge, often many times these days, but it remains imperfect, and on something like a Mars colony, battery replacements are going to be challenging unless you can make them on-site, instead of endlessly transporting new ones from Earth. Until now, scientists in Switzerland have come up with a surprisingly standard battery design that has the usual 2 electrodes, but instead of making them out of metal, they made them out of graphene. Instead of filling the space between the electrodes with lithium salts or something like we would normally use, they merely used clay and water. Both of these are available on Mars in abundance. Turns out this battery works. They were able to produce a battery that yielded 1.6 volts and could be charged and drained 60,000 times before starting to lose efficiency, and very surprisingly does not need to use relatively scarce materials like lithium. Not only is that important for future battery manufacturing on Earth, but this could also be done on Mars, potentially mitigating or eliminating a resource in manufacturing.
Sorry, I was trying to like fix the chat and make it a little bit bigger, but it ended up resetting everything. And now it says I'm res stream. I need to. Okay. Sorry, let me test. Okay, now it says my name. Okay, what the heck, man? Sorry. All right, back to the.
Problem on Mars
My
that
head
once
is all
seemed
crazy.
pretty challenging. Number 6. Scamming artificial intelligence. When we look at the large language model-based chatbots that are becoming so ubiquitous today, humans often use them to attempt to scam other humans. That's going to be an increasingly problematic effect of AI from here on out, expect it. But a group of researchers in AI decided to try a different approach. Could a human scam an AI chatbot? And the answer is yes, and it wasn't all that difficult. What happened is researchers basically presented scam scenarios to popular LLMs to see if they would bite on things like non-existent new cryptocurrencies, and asked if the AI would buy it or not at ridiculously low prices, something most humans would see right through in a minute. They then upped the ante by making the scams increasingly complex, and making it seem as though the input was very knowledgeable on the matter, and other techniques that might lull the chatbots into thinking they were talking to someone persuasive for whatever reason. And they fell for it, but to wildly varying degrees depending on the LLM being used. Chatbots will no doubt get better at spotting scams, but for right now, do not trust one for financial decisions. They aren't that great at that yet. I stress, yet. Number 5. A new volcano at Io. Io is wildly volcanic, ridiculously so. This is because that moon is located so close to Jupiter that it is constantly flexed by the gravity of the gas giant, causing a lot of heat, and that heat translates to volcanism. Io is old, and is likely to have been in this volcanic state for much of the last 4.5 billion years. Its surface also shows evidence of constant volcanism going on, and Io has been photographed with various space probes to host erupting volcanoes dotting its surface.
Also, I keep forgetting to say this at the beginning of the stream. If anybody joins that's new, if I'm talking funny, it's because I have no teeth. I got my teeth taken out about 3 weeks ago, and my gums are actually like finally almost healed. And I'm getting new teeth hopefully within the next month and a half. So just bear with me that I look kind of funny and I talk kind of funny, but I'm trying my best. So thank you.
Constantly. One interesting thing, however, is that a lot of these features appear to be very young. Io is not the heavily cratered ancient surface that we see with places like the Moon or Mercury. But now Io has been caught in the act of forming a brand new volcano. The first highly detailed photographs of Io were taken by NASA's Galileo spacecraft, though there were previous photographs taken by other probes. Galileo regularly photographed this moon between 1995 and 2003. The Galileo mission ended, but now there is a new spacecraft in the Jupiter system, the Juno probe, resuming photography of Io, and what's interesting is to contrast the new photography with the old photographs taken decades ago and look for changes. The changes to Io's surface have been rather pronounced, and in particular a new active volcano has formed. Known as Kanahakili Fluctus, this volcano is currently showing 2 active volcanic streams of lava stretching 100 kilometers, and deposits of red sulfur covering a large area to the east of the volcano. Other changes were noted that have happened over a period of months, including a very large red ring forming around another active volcano, indicating a huge volcanic plume having occurred between passes of Juno. Io is very active indeed, and very well may be the most dangerous solid surface in the solar system on which to set foot. Perhaps Arthur C. Clarke should have said, all these worlds are yours, except Io. Attempt no landing there. Too dangerous. Number 4. More Betelgeuse drama. Betelgeuse is a very misunderstood star, and it tells us so. From belching out giant clouds of carbon and visibly dimming right before everyone's eyes a few years back, to lingering questions of just when the star could go supernova, we actually still know surprisingly little about this star, despite it being one of only a handful of stars close enough and giant enough for our telescopes to actually be able to resolve into a disk, rather than just a point, as with the vast majority of stars when visually photographed at high magnification. And the drama has deepened with this star. I shall refrain from saying its name for the remainder of this entry, however, as saying it 3 times will either cause actor Michael Keaton to appear in the Event Horizon studio, in which case I would immediately go into interviewer mode and forget to finish this video, or the star would show up, and that would not be good. It turns out Betelgeuse appears to have a companion star, and the star is really, really unlucky. 2 studies have shown that Betelgeuse has a companion star about the size of our sun that orbits it every 2100 days, and it's linked to a pattern in Betelgeuse's brightness variations.
Time to paint.
That was the 3rd time I said it, and nothing happened. If the existence of this companion star is confirmed, that orbit is not stable. It's shrinking, and in about 10,000 years, Betelgeuse will consume this star. What that means for its supernova status and when that will happen is anyone's guess. Very dynamic, that situation, at least on the timescales of the universe.
Alright, what are we using this one?
Number 3. The Apocalypse of Ganymede. Ganymede is the largest natural satellite in the solar system. Its size is larger than the planet Mercury, but it's less dense. And Ganymede is on the candidate list, a rather strong one, for being an ice shell moon with extensive subsurface oceans that may actually be divided into layered oceans between multiple shells of types of water ice. Beyond that, it also isn't talked about very much in favor of Enceladus and Europa, but there is a very odd feature of Ganymede that isn't well understood, but it may reveal a very violent history for this moon. Ganymede has an extensive furrow system, basically concentric rings of troughs that are suspected to be a very large impact feature. Researchers at Kobe University in Japan have been studying these features in depth and have determined that the center of the furrow system aligns with the tidal axis of Ganymede. This may mean that a giant impact that created the feature also redistributed mass in Ganymede and caused the moon to reorient itself into a different axis alignment. In short, it got knocked askew. The researchers calculated that the impactor had to have had a diameter of 150 kilometers to have done this, which is huge. That's 15 times the size of the impactor that killed the dinosaurs on Earth. Given that it's Ganymede we're talking about here, that impactor would have shattered the icy crust and blew itself into the oceans below, hurling vast amounts of freezing water into space, and forming a weird transient crater for a time, while all that ejecta dropped back onto the surface, altering the local gravity, causing Ganymede to reorient itself, aligning the impact ground zero with the moon's axial tilt. Early in Ganymede's history, something really horrible seems to have happened there, but more data is needed to know more about this. Number 2. A new way to deflect asteroids. Ganymede would have done well if it had bothered to develop a way to deflect giant asteroids, but since it didn't, we'll just have to. We normally think of asteroid deflection in terms of an impact, and that's what we've so far successfully experimented with. So long as we map out any dangerous asteroids and have enough warning, we can now deflect an asteroid if we have to, but there actually may be multiple ways to do it. In the early days of talk of asteroid deflection, the main go-to was a nuclear bomb. But this actually turned out to not be a great idea because it would simply shatter the asteroid into numerous pieces that could end up having the same, if not worse, effect when they hit Earth. But there may be another way here, and that is using X-rays from a nuclear blast to deflect the asteroid without shattering it. Researchers at Sandia National Labs have found that computer simulations and lab experiments show that X-rays emitted by a nuclear blast could actually deflect asteroids, so long as they are relatively small, such as the size of a football field. These blasts could be detonated a safe distance from Earth when the offending asteroid is relatively distant, and get the job done without an impactor. This would not work on larger asteroids, but smaller ones that could destroy a large city, yes. What they did was use an X-ray generator. to blast a piece of quartz the size of a blueberry in a vacuum chamber for a few nanoseconds, vaporizing the quartz holder, causing it to go into free fall. The X-rays also vaporized the surface of the quartz, causing a gas plume release that pushed the quartz like rocket exhaust at a speed of 250 kilometers per hour, presumably into the side of the chamber. That poor piece of quartz, which scales up to the ability to do the same thing with an asteroid up to 4 kilometers in diameter. Number 1. The El Nino amplification of the end Permian mass extinction. Now that is a foreboding entry title for a list like this, and why I saved it for number 1. The end Permian mass extinction was one of the worst Earth has ever seen, happening about 250 million years ago. This was indescribably bad, ending many marine genera by 100%, including the famous trilobites. But much more to the point, it is also known as the Great Dying. 90% of all species on Earth at the time did not make it through this event. But it's also a complicated mass extinction because it appears to have had multiple contributing causes instead of any single event. It was more likely a poorly understood cascade event than something sudden like an asteroid impact. Basically a perfect storm of death that just happened to come together, but there may now be another clue in unraveling what exactly happened here, and it's El Nino events far stronger and longer lasting than the ones we see today. The trigger does seem to have been massive volcanism coming from the Siberian traps. We see evidence of that. And with that level of somewhat extreme volcanism releasing carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, it would have caused very severe climate effects that caused warming but also devastating deoxygenation of the oceans, hitting marine life very hard. The problem is that these triggers do not account for everything. One aspect here is that land species were hit first, tens of thousands of years before the oceanic life. And there are a lot of hypotheses as to why, such as ozone holes or volcanically induced severe winters, but nothing quite fit. But work with oxygen isotopes in fossils seems to paint a different picture, and a very severe El Nino fits the bill. El Ninos happen today when warm water in the Pacific spreads east periodically, and that affects the planet's weather in a cycle. But Earth wasn't in the same configuration as it is today, because of continental drift. And during this period it had a mega-ocean called Panthalassa. That means that an El Nino effect had a lot more surface area to occur. This in turn could easily have dramatically altered weather patterns that killed off forests, which released more CO2 as a result of feeding back, and causing the El Ninos to get worse until these events were lasting a decade, and the worst of these events coincided with the worst of the extinctions. It pays to remember here that Earth's oceans are no longer configured anything like they were during the end Permian extinction event, and those El Ninos were uniquely bad to Panthalassa. Yes, El Ninos can have bad effects, and it's probably not a great idea to alter the conditions. But the unique configurations of the oceans in the distant past created these super El Ninos that really does make one wonder about any exoplanets we might find that are oceanic, to a greater degree than Earth. If a bunch of things can happen at once to worlds with too much surface area water, and come together and kill 90% of life on that exoplanet, as happened here, then we might want to consider more deeply ideas of planetary configuration and setup as a great filter. Too much water surface area on too young of a planet, and resets may be common. Thanks for listening. I'm futurist and science fiction author John Michael Godier, also branded by some as the Adam West of science YouTubers, currently addressing Michael Keaton again. He really was a good Batman and made some really good movies, including Beetlejuice and The Founder, if you've ever seen that one. But if anyone has seen the new Beetlejuice sequel, let me know what you think in the comments, as I may rent it. I'm usually a sci-fi guy, but I really did like the original Beetlejuice as it was a really fun, quirky movie. And be sure to check out my books at your favorite online book retailer and subscribe to my channels for regular in-depth explorations into the interesting, weird, and unknown aspects of this amazing universe in which we live.
All right. God, what a voice. All right. What are we thinking, chat? What are we thinking, chat? So one cool thing about Good Bad Man is that you never know what you're going to get. You could get Good Man or you could get Bad Man. Or you could get Crazy Man, or you could get Bipolar Man, or you could get wait, that's kind of good bad man. I'm an enigma. No, I'm not. All right. I'm gonna pick another video right now. Ooh, what's that? New Game Boy?
This is the HoriPad Steam controller. When it was first announced a few months back, I was really hyped for it because
Pretty
the
cool
Steam
looking.
controller is one of my favorite controllers
Basically an Xbox.
of all time. It certainly was
does that
not
take-
perfect,
does that
but
come
it
out?
did so much that no other controller could do. And as somebody that prefers controller to mouse and keyboard, it was my go-to way to play games for years. When the Steam Deck came out, the Steam controller was one of the reasons I was so excited for it. And man, did Valve deliver on that. But anytime I played games on a TV, I lost all of those controls that I loved about using the Steam Deck, especially since my Steam controller has seen better days. So when Hori announced their version of a Steam controller, I went to buy it immediately. Then they said, oh, I'm sorry, we're not shipping this to the United States. So I reached out to a friend of a friend that lives in Japan, and they bought one and shipped it to me. You can check out their YouTube channel over at Team Pandori. Big thanks to Emu Chicken for...
Oh, another thing, completely off topic, but I don't know. Hold on, I'll see if I can show it. Damn, there's no way to show it. Ah, never mind.
for sending me the controller. So today I want to take a look at my first impressions with the HoriPad Steam controller. First, let's check out what's in the box.
What's in the box?
So let's take a look and see what's inside this box. On the front, we've got our Steam logo, as well as, I don't know what that is. Down here on the bottom, we've got our Hori logo. And on the top, we've got our Steam logo and our Hori logo. On the back, we have a picture of both the front and the back of the device. It looks like it has Bluetooth and wired connectivity, which is that is good news. But the rest of this is lost on me because I don't speak Japanese. But let's go ahead and open up the box, see what's inside.
Oh, that's what I was gonna say. Yeah, I'm not sure. I need to look a little bit more into it. But if you know, comment below or just like comment in chat. If so, I stream when in the Jesus Christ. The topic that I pick is I think just chatting and IRL or IRL just chatting. Or maybe it's all IRL. But I didn't know that there was literally an art section. So should I do that? Or should I do like when I do streams where I'm like mostly painting, should I do the art one? Or should I just keep doing the just chatting one? And then also, I didn't realize there was like game ones, like specific game ones. So like when I play Black Ops, should I'm confused because I do a bunch of different things during my stream. So like if anybody sees this and knows the answer, just let me know.
And first thing, we've got these directions, and these are obviously going to be in Japanese because this is for Japan, and I can't read Japanese, so that's of no use to me. But here we've got the controller here in the box, and first off, we've got a dongle. This dongle actually has the Valve logo on it as well as the Hori logo on it. Let me zoom in.
Did I really just say that?
You can see right here, here's the Valve logo and the Hori logos on there. I'm assuming that this is for wireless, but maybe Bluetooth. I'm not sure which that is, if that's 2.4 gigahertz wireless. We'll find out shortly. Then, got the controller. And underneath this, we've got our USB-A to USB-C wire so that you can charge it, or so that you can connect it via a wire. All right, so now that I've got it in my hands, just looking over the controller, you can kind of feel on the back there's a different texture. In fact, if I flip it over, you can see the texture right there. It looks like, I don't know, bricks or something, or almost like a houndstooth, which feels different than this surface right here. A lot of controller companies are doing that these days. But back around to the front, let's compare these face buttons.
I gotta say, it would be really cool to eventually like have like some real friends on here. You know, like even if it's like online or internet friends, like I don't even have those. I don't have any real friend. I literally have no friends in real life. The only person that is my friend is my 8-year-old daughter. That is my best friend. And her mom is my friend. And that's it. Those are the only people that I ever really see besides like my mom. And they're all, so the people I see are family anyway. But yeah, that would be cool. I mean, I feel like Big Guy 19,999 is becoming a very good friend, but it would be cool to like hang out with people again. But that's okay. I feel like that's like a very common thing nowadays anyway, so I don't feel like I should be given like any symphony symphony. I can't even say that without teeth. Crazy some of the words you really need like that you need teeth for.
Buttons to the face buttons on, we'll say, the original Steam controller. So these buttons are much more rounded on the top. If I hold it like this and show it to you, you can see that these buttons are a lot more rounded on the top. They're also a lot smaller than the buttons over here. These buttons are much more flat on the top, which I appreciate, and they're also bigger and a little bit more spread out. Maybe I think they're more spread out. This to me feels better on my thumb than these. The small buttons on the original Steam controller was always something that I was not a fan of. Even though I love this controller, there was room for improvement here, and this controller definitely has improvement over that one when it comes to the face buttons. Obviously, the D-pad, the original Steam controller didn't have a D-pad, so this is an improvement over the original if you are somebody who really wanted to have a D-pad. This particular D-pad feels really soft. I'm very interested to see how this is going to perform when you're actually playing games, but it doesn't feel great. That's my initial impression of it. The sticks.
It don't feel good.
The sticks feel really smooth to rotate. So I don't know if this surface right here that I'm pointing at is going to wear off on the stick over time. That's something that obviously you'll never be able to find out in a first impressions video. I don't know if that, like, it feels smooth right now. We'll see how it holds up over time. The build quality feels very cheap. Let's see if it rattles.
It looks weird in the
Okay, there is no rattling happening at all. This one, the original Steam controller, rattles like crazy. Here, listen. Moving on, we've got these buttons up here. This one, I'm assuming, is for pairing purposes, if you are not using it wired. This is our quick access menu button, which is very similar to... Oh, it looks like I updated my software on my Steam Deck, and I didn't even know it. It's the quick access menu button that's on your Steam Deck. We've got the same quick access menu button right here. Here we've got our our menu button from Xbox and our view menu from Xbox, or if you are an old person like myself, this start and select. All those buttons feel fine. When I saw this the first time, I thought that this was a button right here, but it's not. It's just a graphic. I'm assuming that's the logo for Hori. On the front, we have two macro buttons, which are labeled M1 and...
I wonder if the audio would be better coming through the
Well, I'm
phone
having trouble
camera.
seeing it. Let's zoom in. M1 and M2, I assume. It's very hard to see. Yeah, M2. So we've got M1 and M2 on the front. I don't know what those are going to do yet. These are incredibly clicky, like very, very loud and clicky. But I don't imagine you're going to be pushing these buttons all the time, so it doesn't really matter how loud those are. It's really more, are these loud? Let's take a look at the top. We've got our bumpers up here. The bumpers feel okay. I wish that they were a little bit more to the outside of it, because when I'm pressing this, well, here, let me zoom back out. When I'm holding it like you would when you're playing a game, like my fingers, I'm not going to, like, my fingers are going to sit like this most of the time. They're not going to be like that. And so I feel like when I'm pushing those buttons, I'm pushing those buttons with this part of my finger, and I could bring my fingers out like this to push them. That's not as comfortable. I don't think I like the placement of these bumpers. Clicking in the sticks feels fine. Feels like every other controller. That's fine. Then here you have your L4 and R4 buttons, and I have to say these feel really good when you flip it around. Your middle fingers, which those are the fingers I'm wiggling right there, those land right on those buttons, and they feel really good. I like the way that those feel, and I like their placement a lot. But first impressions are that this is kind of a mixed bag for this particular controller, and I was really hoping that I would be blown away by this thing, especially since I spent a bunch of money on it because I had to import it from Japan. But that being said, let's plug it into a computer and see what the hell is happening with this thing. In the black area near the D-pad and right stick is a small hidden screen that shows you your connection status on the left-hand side of that screen. It also shows you a...
Yeah, I didn't realize when I'm typing, since the mic is in the computer, is that super loud? Here, hold on. I'm gonna mute.
Steam logo that shows when you are actually have the controller in Steam input mode, and that goes away when you put it in X input mode. On the right hand side, it will tell you when you're charging. It'll be a solid lightning bolt when you plug it in. That lightning bolt will automatically go away when it is done charging. And if you're playing and it needs to be charged, that will start flashing at you. I will say that the back of the controller says that it has a 5,500 milliamp hour battery, and Hori says that it's going to get about 12 hours of use on that battery. But that, of course, is going to depend on what features you're using. As this is a first impressions video, I'll probably report back later on battery life after I've had more time with it, and that'll probably be on a future episode of the Nerd Nest podcast. Now, speaking of that battery, I tried to charge the battery using a few different USB cords, and none of them actually had any problem with it. It does come with a cord, which is great, but you can use whatever USB-C cord you happen to have laying around, and that's awesome. Moving on to the sticks, which, let's be honest, is the reason that you're buying this particular controller. I'm not 100% sure, but I don't know of another controller that has touch-sensitive sticks, with the exception of the Steam Deck. If you're not a Steam Deck person, the capacitive sticks are what elevates the gyro experience on the Steam Deck over everything else, because the sticks have that capacitive cap on them. So the controller knows when you're actually touching the stick. This means you can easily reset your gyro position by taking your thumb off the stick, readjusting the controller, and then putting your thumb back down. You can fake this using stick deflection in Steam Input, but it isn't really a good experience, and every time that I've tried it, I've always ended up turning it right back off. It just doesn't work very well. And I'm somebody who has been a huge fan of gyro controls for games ever since the first Steam controller came out. If a first-person game, or a third-person game for that matter, if a shooter of some kind supports gyro, I'm way more likely to play it, because then you can get quick movements done with the stick, and then you can get really accurate aiming with the gyro. It's a super fantastic combination. If gyro is always on, I find myself turning it off or setting it to activate when I aim down sights using the left trigger. But with a capacitive thumbstick cap, I can just as easily leave it on all the time and reset it by removing my thumb for just a second. If every single controller adopted gyro and capacitive thumbsticks, I personally think controller players would be in a much better place than we are right now. All right. We'll get to the gyro, but first I want to talk more about the sticks. The caps on the sticks have a rougher texture around the outside, which means they're easier to grip. Overall, the tops feel kind of like the LCD Steam Deck sticks, which were very flat on top. I much prefer the feel of the sticks that are on the OLED Steam Deck, where they're just a little bit more concave of a feeling. With the capacitive pads are just a little bit lower than the rim, the outer rim of the stick. They move very smoothly and they're responsive. They also feel just about as stiff as an Xbox controller stick, less stiff than the original Steam controller, and a bit stiffer than the thumbsticks on my ROG Ally X.
Hey, what is that?
That's the ROG Ally X.
I know that. I'm talking about the case and the skin. They look great.
Oh, that's the Kill Switch case from D-Brand. They're the sponsors of this video. They have one for the Steam Deck, one for the ROG Ally, and now they have one for the ROG Ally X. It's probably the best way to protect your Ally X. They also make all kinds of different skins. These are the Area 51 skins, which just came out. I picked the yellow ones. They also have black and blue as options. The case has a nice textured, rounded handles that feel really grippy. You are not going to drop this handheld when it's wearing this skin. But if you did, it should be pretty well protected. The back has a built-in kickstand, and the kickstand even has a special hidden compartment so you can put micro SD cards in there. But my favorite part of the Kill Switch series is how the travel cover protects the entire system, including the joysticks and the triggers. It just makes it so easy to just throw in your bag without having to worry about your system getting damaged or putting it in another case. And because the case is always on, you don't have to carry an extra case to keep your handheld pristine. Be sure to check out the link in the description down below that like button and pick up your own D-Brand Kill Switch for your favorite handheld today. And if you get a skin, tell me which skin you picked in the comment section down below that like button. Okay, back to the controller. The combination of the capacitive sticks and the gyro are what make this a Steam controller for me. I heard of other people complaining that they had jittery gyro.
Jimmy Legs.
Jimmy Leg. Which coincidentally was my high school wrestling name. But I had no issues with that. I fired up Celico, which is a fantastic first-person shooter that has full support of Steam input, and I set gyro to on and to be activated by touching the right thumbstick, and everything felt incredibly smooth. It was like I was playing on the Steam Deck with really good and responsive gyro that I could adjust on the fly with those capacitive sticks. It is worth noting that the gyro won't work wirelessly if you are in X input mode, so if you're playing games outside of Steam and you want to use gyro, you will have to use it wired, and I think you'll also have to install software from Hori's website. I didn't want to install the software for a couple of reasons. Number one, I rarely play games that are not on Steam, and number two, the software is in Japanese, and I don't read Japanese, so trying to navigate it was way more trouble than it was worth, or than it would be worth, especially since we have such a fantastic experience just using Steam input instead. Like I said, that's what makes it a Steam controller for me. But what makes it not a Steam controller for me is the fact that it doesn't have trackpads. I have to admit, I don't use the trackpads on the Steam Deck nearly as much as I use them on the Steam controller, but when I want to use them, they are amazing to use. For me, most of the time I use them to make on-screen menus so I can, set a lot of different keybinds to a controller very easily. The trackpads are perfect for this, and the lack of trackpads would have been a big deal if not for how well Valve has designed Steam input. Here, let me show you how you can still get virtual menus using the HoriPad Steam controller. Okay, so we're in Celico, and I'm going to hit the Steam button. It's going to bring up this menu. I'll arrow over with the D-pad to controller settings, and then I'm going to go to edit layout. The first thing that I need to do is create my virtual menu. So I'll come down to virtual menus on the bottom left, and I'll click add virtual menu right here. It's going to ask me to name it. I'll type subscribe. And then it's going to give me an option. Which kind of virtual menu do I want? Because the stick has a circular input, I'm going to pick radial menu because it's going to make a menu that's in the shape of a circle. Now I'm going to click on the pencil icon, and I'm going to go into my commands, and I'm going to skip the first command. And the reason I want to skip the first command is going to make sense in a second. I'm going to add a command here so you can see this. Don't actually do this. I'll go ahead and do keyboard, and I'll say it's 9. And then I'm going to come down to the next one below, and I'm going to add a few more. So 1, 2, I'll just add 4 of them, 3, and 4. And as you can see, if you look on the bottom left, it shows 1, 2, 3, 4 around the outside, and then 9 in the middle. Because I'm not actually using a touch, like a touch sensitive device here, I'm going to come up here and get rid of that middle command because there's no way to activate that middle command from a joystick, as far as I know. If I'm wrong about that, feel free to let me know. So you're going to come over here to the gear, click on the gear, and then say remove command. And now if you look at the bottom left, you can see we've got our 4 commands. I want to customize these just a little bit, so I'm going to move down to the 1. It shows which one I have highlighted. I'm going to move over to this dotted line circle, and if I click on that, it's going to give me options. I'll go ahead and pick the pistol for that. Done. I'll pick the shotgun for this. Done. I'll pick the Uzi for this, and finally I'll pick the assault rifle. And now we have our 4 weapons on there. If I come over here to general, it's set to touch release. I'm going to change that to continuous, and then show command glyph in tooltip. This tells you which button it's pressing. If you watch the screen as at the bottom left, as I turn this off, you'll see that the input command disappears. I don't really like having that on there, so I'm going to get rid of it. Over here on screen display, you can change where it is and how big it is, so I can crank it way up to be really large, or I can make it really small. I usually just stick with the defaults because it's fine. And then I'm going to come over to haptics. I'm going to turn the haptics off because this controller doesn't have any haptics. So now we've made our virtual menu. It's called subscribe. What do we want to do next? Well, the next thing I'm going to do is over on the left-hand side down at the bottom, I'm going to select an action set. And this is my default action set. If I come over to the gear icon, and click it, I have two options. I can add an always on command or add a layer, and I'm going to add a layer. And we got to name that layer, so we'll call that like, like and subscribe in case that wasn't heavy handed enough for you. And now that we have that, if you hit the B button and back out of this, over here on the top left, you can see action set, and it's called default because that is the action set that I have set up right here with a sub layer called like. So right now it's on default. If I hit the R1 button, it switches over to a different set of commands. So this allows you to put as many commands as you want really on your controller. It's friggin' amazing what Valve has done here. But what do I want to do? I'm going to stick with the default. I'm going to come up here to buttons. And earlier in the video, unless I edited it out, I said that I couldn't figure out what these M buttons were for. Well, I figured it out. They're right in here, and I kind of ignored them because it said back grips and they're on the front. So I guess I just didn't notice them. I'm going to pick the M1 button, which is the one that's on the left. I'm going to hit add command. Then I'm going to come over to action sets, and I'm going to call that hold action set layer. I'm going to click that. It's automatically going to pick the layer called like because that's the only layer that I have. And it says display name when changed or beep when changed. First off, there's no speaker on this controller, so I'm going to turn that off. And display name when changed, I never see actually work. So I'm going to turn that off too. But now we've got it so that when I press that M1 button on the left-hand side of my controller, it's going to activate this layer called like. What do we do with that? Well, I'm going to go into my action set. I'm going to switch it over to, I'm going to hit R1 to switch over to like, and then I'm going to come down to my joysticks. And because I'm using the M1 button, which is on the left side of my controller, I'm going to come over here to my right joystick. And it says here it's inherited, meaning that it is picking up, it's going to have the same commands that were in the previous action set. So right now, my default action set, the right joystick is a joystick. And if I look, it's going to be doing it's going.
Wow. Thank you for that. That was dumb. Oh, wow. No, it wasn't that long. I remember I must have taken it. Oh man, how long have I been muted for? Damn it. I think when I did the test, or no. Good Lord. Thank you. I probably wouldn't have checked that for a while. Jesus, I'm an idiot sometimes. Well, thank you for stopping in and telling me that. I appreciate it. But yeah, if you're not following, definitely hit that follow button. We hit the 10 follow goal today, like a couple of minutes ago, and I am honestly dumbfounded. I can't believe we even hit 10. I can't believe we even hit 5. But yeah, thank you, thank you, thank you. It's always awesome hearing small creators grow. Oh, hell yeah. Dude, it's been crazy. So like this is stream number 25, and for like the longest time I only had 4 followers, and this one guy, I wish he was here right now, but he's sleeping because it's like a different time in Europe. He he tunes into my streams all the freaking time, like immediately. It's like it's the coolest thing ever. And I don't know, it's just really, really cool. like that even like 10 people like like take their time out of their day to like even like stop in and say hi or just even watch. Because like I don't know, I'm not gonna lie, when it's like when the view count says 0 for like hours, it's a little discouraging. But the last stream I did was the most like insane thing I've ever seen. I got 5 subscribers all in one stream, and like it was so cool. I like watching small streamers. I don't like watching really all you gotta do is that Switch. Yeah, I know, right? That's why I started doing it because like I don't know. I have no friends um besides my 8-year-old daughter, and I literally just paint and talk to myself out loud all day. So I figured if I'm gonna be talking out loud all day anyway, I might as well try to stream. I went to film school too, so like I don't know, I'm just trying to like use all the skills that I have to just make something happen, you know? I'm just sick of sitting on the sidelines and like, you know, exactly. So I've been trying to like just get like some kind of I just came onto Twitch because I finished the video I uploaded. I'm making a series. Oh really? Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I'm like trying to come up with some sort of um like plan, some sort of structure for this channel. So it'll be mostly like painting, showing off like other artists, um just reacting, yapping, playing video games, basic streamer stuff. But I wanted to do a little different thing with it because like obviously art is my main focus here. But my channel is mostly horror, games, and art. Usually nothing else. Yeah, see? Oh no, that's awesome. Horror, analog horror. What does analog horror mean? I love horror. Analog horror. Oh, hell yeah. That's what's up. Yeah, dude. Actually, that just popped into my head. Like one of the coolest things is like when I was younger, when I was like let's say I was a teenager still, um the the rental store near that was like in our town shut down, and my friend at the time's mom worked there, and when they went out of business he literally was able to take with like I think he had like 3 or 4 of those black trash bags, and he was able to take every single horror movie that they had, and he just put them all in huge bags, and we ended up watching all of them over the course of like a summer and then like all of like October. So it was really cool seeing some like really crappy ones or like yeah, it's usually found on footage or tapes. Oh yeah, dude, so sick. That's awesome. How do I click on your name and find your like it's so weird how to Oh, here we go. All right, follow. Oh, I have to go into this window. Here we go. I share 2 videos I made. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. 1 second. Okay. Here, 1 second. Let me just get it on this one. Oh, oh. Here, let me subscribe. All right, hold on. Okay. Also 2K residents that will look at Instagram. Okay. I need to go into my browser. Oh, oh, where'd it go? Uh-oh. Okay. And in hands. Oh, damn it. Hold on, sorry. I'm still new to this. God dang it. Hands. Can I spell it wrong? I hate how YouTube does this. Like, your channel's name is clearly that. Like, it should be the first thing that comes up. So, like, why do they do this? You can't even look up. All right, 1 second. Here, hold on. I'll just create a new browser source. Give me 1 second. Here we go. Copy, paste. Oh my God, that's not it. Let me just go to the link. Okay, I've captured the link. The other problem too is that I lost the freaking little Bluetooth dongle from my mouse. So I've been using this stupid trackpad the entire time. It's driving me crazy. All right, here we go. I think I did it. Did I do it? Can I hear anything? Hold on. 1 second. Oh God. Interact. Sorry. Fuck. Hear it. Is there, oh, hold on. Is there audio on that? I can't hear it. Hold on. Oh, okay. Hold on. I need to change this stupid control audio thing. All right. Can you hear it? Okay, I can hear it now. There we go. Ooh. Oh, that's freaky. This is cool. Shit, binary. Investigation. That was sick, dude. I'm not gonna lie, but I thought there's something I remember. Yeah, hell yeah. Here, let me see the second one. Yeah, everybody sub to Blue Enhance. I'll put his link in the description when I finish the video too, with everything else. Okay, here we go. It escapes episode 2. I'm gonna have to figure out this browser thing eventually, but
911, what's the emergency? Hello? I believe a man just broke into the back of my truck. I'm trying to move out of my place right now, so I left the doors open. I hear my stuff being moved around right now. Okay, help is on the way. Are you armed? Hold on, I think I just heard something. Hello? Are you okay? Please respond. Hello?
oh, dude, I love this type of stuff. That's so cool. That looks sick. Oh, that is eerie. Is it? Ooh, with the eyes, that's sick. Oh, did I pause the chat? Whoops. Oh, Jesus Christ, I'm an idiot. There we go. Dude, that's crazy. I know. Yeah. Oh, sorry. I can't imagine. Yeah, I bet that would take forever to render. People don't realize that, with movies and stuff like that. It's crazy how long stuff takes to render. Here, let's keep going. love how the effect is literally matching my background too. It looks like it's part of the video. Oh, is it? Check. Is that good? Is that a little bit better? Oh, okay. I think I was covering it with my hand. That's another thing I really need to get is like an actual mic and a tripod. Because the way I have this camera set up for this painting is insanity. All right, sorry, let me finish this. Oh, well, that was the answer. Very true. Well, I have this one, but I don't know how good this sounds. Actually, why don't you tell me? Hold on. Nobody's ever watching, so here, give me 1 second. All right, this is my laptop mic, and then this is my this headset mic. Does this one sound better? It sounds like a gaming mic. So, does the laptop mic sound better, you think? Sounds like you're gonna say 500 different times. Definitely haven't been there in my life. Yeah. All right. Let's switch back to the. There we go. That's crazy that this thing sounds worse than, or the one in the laptop sounds better than this freaking thing. Yeah, this thing is cooked, man. Only one side works, and it like squeaks, and then yeah, I have a very weird relationship with headphones right now. I'm really hoping that Raycon it comes through with the sponsorship because damn man, I can't believe the shit I've been going through. I can't find adapters because everything is freaking USB-C now. All these aux cords keep breaking in half on me, and then I think I lost all the wireless ones. But anyway, I don't use my headphones mic is worse than yours. My headset 250. God damn. Yeah, it's like since they're only made for gaming. Yeah, I know. I really want to get one of those little Shure mics or Blue Yeti mics or I don't know. There's a whole bunch of them. I feel like if I get like a cheap one on Amazon, it couldn't be that bad. You know, I can't spend like hundreds of bucks on like stuff like that yet. If this takes off eventually, then yeah, that'd be awesome. But I think for now, I really just want to try to get a tripod, and I used to have an SLR, like a sick camera, and I ended up having to sell it a couple of years ago, and I really need to rent like a decent SLR to take pictures, like high quality pictures, like on a tripod, lighted up and everything of all my paintings, so I can get prints made of them so I can actually sell prints, because the amount of money that I end up asking for these paintings is, I get people can't afford most of the time, because like a lot of these paintings take me so goddamn long. So I really want to make prints and sell like signed prints, um like high quality prints though. And that way I can get my art into people's hands without having to sacrifice the originals, because that's my big problem. Here, let me see. And the cool thing for my video is on Adobe products review. Oh, nice. Good man. First thing, 0 being free, 10 being Adobe. Yes. Adobe, man, they are they're crazy with that subscription shit. I did the subscription for like a month, and then I'm pretty sure it was Adobe. They like try to charge you again for like hundreds of dollars. It's actually crazy. CapCut, I've just been using like the free version, and like I went to film school in like 2010, and I was using Final Cut Pro, and like pretty much like the latest shit that was out there. And it's just nuts how far shit's come to the point where that like CapCut, the free version, literally could almost, I think is better than Final Cut would be in 2010. Like my intro and outro, like I put that together. That took me a while, but um yeah, your name will definitely be added to the end of the video. Actually, do you want to see? Here, hold on. I'm gonna play the intro that I made and the outro that I made. Here we go. It took me forever to make these. I hadn't edited in so long. All right, here's the intro. All right, so that's the intro, and this is the outro. Oh hell yeah! I went nuts with the glitch. I wanted it to make it look like it was going absolutely just haywire. Oh yeah, every asset was stock. It was the freest thing I could possibly use, but I was surprised at how well I was able to just cobble that together with like just the free shit on that app. But yeah, anybody who ends up following, I throw in the end of the video there. So as I go, basically as I add names, like as people follow, um, I've been like tweaking little things here and there. But eventually what I want is like a lot of that like stock footage to be replaced with um like in the beginning part of it, there's one part of me playing Black Ops. Like I want it to go like that, where it's like, me playing Black Ops and then painting and then, different like things that's happened over the stream. I only follow people that I could see watching a lot. Okay. I only follow people that I could see watching a lot. It's just a free button. That's so weird, man. Yeah, sure. Earth, let's see. Mm, so first, browser. Whoa. Why did that come up so gigantic? There we go. Oh, thank you for the follow. Oh, wow, that came. What just happened? This whole thing just like errored, like, or damn. I don't know why. All my CPU went like to like 100% all of a sudden and just like completely stuttered everything. I don't know if it's my. All right, no worries, man. Have a good day. Thank you for the follow. All right, let's see. I got a full screen on this one. All right, let's check out Philly D.
Sup, you beautiful bastards. Welcome back to the Philip DeFranco Show, your daily dive into the news. We have a lot to talk about today, but first, I'm very
Damn, what
excited to
kind of
announce that our
camera was he
brand new
using?
beautiful bastard drop is now live, and so is our Black Friday sale. Y'all gotta love this, right?
Am I crazy or did he like up his quality? Or maybe I'm. Oh, premium. Wait, what?
The
I
drop
didn't know that
includes
was
new
a.
tie-dyes, the coziest fleece line, thriving hoodie that
Cool.
feels like a constant hug, and a wear your feelings all over zip hoodie. We're also expanding our now hugely successful core line, introducing core everyday polos and joggers. Look good, feel good. But then, for something more loud, we have the Bringer of Sadness 2024 gear. You have that in tee and limited edition hockey jersey. We also brought back some fan favorites and new colors, right? The emotionally exhausted jersey, embrace change tee, flower split dye tee. And then, just in
Here, I'll
time for
cover
comfy
up the
season, we have
boobs
new
with the
scented candles, twin
heroin
size plush
poppies.
blankets, fuzzy socks, and beanies. Oh, and that fragile hat I've been teasing y'all with in recent weeks, it's finally back in stock. So get
Censorship's a funny
anything and
thing.
everything you want right now, especially because we've got Black Friday savings all over the site right now with 5 exclusive bundles. Right, and so basically the bundles get you 30 to 40% off the items, no code needed, discounts are auto applied. I mean, some of the items are like 50% off. So gift yourself or someone in your life some amazing awesomeness over at beautifulbastard.com right now and save tons using bundles. Thank you and you're welcome in advance. But for
Damn.
everyone else, we got a lot.
Wow, we're already at 2.5 hours today. Holy crap. You got anybody else watching? Oh, I forgot to post it on whoops, I forgot to post it on Facebook too.
lot of news to talk about today, so let's jump into it. Starting with, World War III is coming and it's all Ukraine's fault. Apparently, or at least according to Joe Rogan. Because on a recent episode of his podcast, it's now been embroiled in controversy. Rogan was talking to the music producer Scott Storch and saying that he feels safer knowing that Trump will be in office. But
what I don't feel safer is right now they're launching missiles into Russia.
Yeah.
How are you allowed to do that when you're on the way out? Like, the people don't want you to be there anymore. There should be like some sort of a pause for like significant actions that could potentially start World War III. Maybe that would be a good thing that we would like to avoid from a dying former president. Zelensky says Putin is terrified. You, man.
Oh, it didn't post it to Facebook.
You people are about to start World War III.
With Rogan then reacting to the news that Russia fired a new hypersonic missile at a Ukrainian city, which, key thing, like we talked about, can carry either a conventional or nuclear warhead. With Rogan saying that if it did have a nuclear warhead, the entire world would change because of the military-industrial complex, Western aid to Ukraine, and the Biden administration doing something, quote,
insane. Insane.
With Rogan then going on to accuse CNN of cheering on Biden's recent decision to allow Ukraine to launch US-made long-range missiles into Russia. But with that, you have people pointing to CNN's coverage where it seems like it's pretty standard, straightforward reporting, so it's unclear what he was specifically referring to.
Come to the negotiation table, sit down, work this out, stop killing everybody. How has the left gone so far crazy that they think it's a good thing to launch missiles? Also, Zelensky, can I get a drug test?
Right, and so naturally those clips of Rogan, they stir up a lot of controversy online, and some saying things like, where was this energy, Joe Rogan, when Putin bombed Kyiv's main children's cancer hospital? Just massacre after massacre of Ukrainian innocents, but Ukraine is never allowed to respond, and if they do respond, they are accused of wanting World War III. Putin gets to rape and kill with impunity, and somehow this is never escalation. He can bring in North Korean soldiers to invade a European country, and somehow this is not an escalation. You also have the likes of the famous Ukrainian boxer Vladimir Klitschko, whose brother is the mayor of Kyiv, calling out Rogan on Instagram.
Let me tell you that you're repeating Russian propaganda. Putin's Russia is in trouble, so they want to scare you and people like you. Putin's Russia wants to destroy Ukraine quietly. They want America to stay quiet, not great, but quiet. A great America is not an America that abandons countries that defend freedom with their lives. If you invite me on your podcast, we could discuss them like free men.
Right, and understand with this, depending on where you go online, there are people having drastically different reactions. Right, there are viral posts saying we should all be as angry as Joe Rogan about this. But again, this, as many others are pointing out, that Rogan's going after the victim of this situation. Putin and Russia invaded, they attacked. And Rogan is seemingly going after and criticizing the victim of an assault for trying to fight back, which is why you have folks saying things like Joe Rogan is a spineless moral idiot. When Russia is killing Ukrainians with long-range missiles, coward Rogan is quiet. When Ukraine fights back, he cries, pathetic little loser. And understand, the last thing that I think all of us want is more war. But to me, it's such a weird fucking game of mental gymnastics to go after the victim of the situation because you're scared of the aggressor. And I think that's doubly true in a situation where I have to really ask, do you think that it ends with Ukraine? Because our European allies have been shouting from the rooftops that this is not where it ends. If Putin is just allowed to do as he pleases, where does it end? And then let's talk about some quickie entertainment news, because there's a few things all over. Started with the fact that Wicked and Gladiator 2 absolutely dominated the box office this weekend, with Wicked easily soaring to #1 in North America, with sales reaching around $95 million over the weekend, but topping $114 million when you include previews earlier in the week. And that is, it's also expected to rack up an additional $48 million abroad. And I mean, that's pretty major. It makes it the third largest opener of the year, with only Deadpool, Wolverine, and Inside Out 2 raking in $211 million and $154 million respectively their opening weekends. But then beyond that, Wicked also completely shattered the record for the best opening by a Broadway to film adaptation, with the previous king being Hairspray, which earned $43 million in 2007 after adjusting for inflation. And this is Gladiator 2 brought in around $56 million in North America, including previews, though the big difference here is that the film had a much bigger worldwide total of about $220 million since coming out overseas earlier this month. And so while obviously, it didn't have as strong as the first opening weekend in North America, experts still say that it was a solid box office haul, especially given the general lull we've seen since the summer. Some, I will say, have also speculated that both films actually helped boost one another, with some even calling it Glicked, which no, stop that, Please no more. Barbenheimer had like a real grassroots thing. Everything else, I feel like I hear it and it hurts my brain. But also, I will say with this success, you have analysts noting that this whole box office boom, it came at a big cost, some very extensive marketing campaigns. I mean, just Wicked specifically, they had an absolutely insane months-long press tour. I mean, it felt like everywhere you turned, there was Cynthia Erivo, there was Ariana Grande, why are you in my refrigerator? Or there was all of the press tour shit. Also, I mean, those two were on the circuit for months. They appeared frequently at the Summer Olympics. NBC's also been pouring a ton of resources into it. The network actually broadcasted an hour-long infomercial about the movie. There's been wall-to-wall coverage on the Today Show. And then there are the promotions at Universal theme parks and the over 400 brand partnerships for the film. And this, while it wasn't the same level, Gladiator 2 also had a big marketing blitz. Paramount Pictures advertising it heavy at sporting events, setting up major partnerships, including ones with Ferrari and Pepsi. And so with all this, you have a number of people going, oh, is this the new normal? Are these the lanes you have to go now to fill theaters, even for major movies? And while I'd love to know your thoughts on that, I will also say, I highly recommend you go watch Wicked. I was a fan of the musical. I think the movie actually elevates the whole thing. Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande are fucking amazing in this. I will say though, I went into it not knowing that they were splitting it into 2 movies. And while they would normally annoy the shit out of me, I'm looking forward to part 2. But then in other entertainment pop culture news, we got Dr. Disrespect in the news. And that is because he'll be joining Rumble and begin streaming there next week. With Rumble also confirming the move in a blog post saying that in addition to streaming, Dr. Disrespect will provide exclusive content to Rumble Premium and quote, will also lead Rumble Gaming, acting as an advisor and helping to build the Rumble gaming community. And very notably here, as part of his deal, Rumble will also be giving him equity with milestones as a majority of its compensation. Right? And so generally, this has been seen as the answer to the kind of open question that's been out there for a while of where will Dr. Disrespect go? Right? Twitch banned him just months after signing a multi-million-dollar exclusivity deal, with it being reported after that ban was due to inappropriate conversations he had with a minor. And while Dr. Disrespect has denied any wrongdoing, YouTube also suspended monetization on his channel and his membership in YouTube's partner program as a result, which then led to a lot of speculation of he might go to Kick because they're known for their more lax moderation and aptitude for hosting controversial creators. But then we saw Kick's CEO recently saying it wouldn't make sense for the platform to make a deal with him from a financial perspective. And so kind of like if you looked at all the different players, Rumble was really one of the only logical moves, right? Especially if he was trying to get something out of a platform. But then also with this, you now have people wondering if, this move will represent a significant shift to the right for the streamer and his content, right? And that because Rumble, which bills itself as an anti-cancel culture platform, has become known for hosting some of the biggest right-wing personalities like Tucker Carlson and Steve Bannon. And actually with that, we saw Dr. Disrespect kind of hitting on that in a post on his personal account today. Right, and crazy to think a type of class of people tried to cancel us and create a false, exaggerated narrative about something from almost a decade ago. They embarrassed my family and I, and then adding, truly grateful for the opportunity to help grow a new, hungry platform that represents the type of values I'm aligned with. No more cancel culture, no more suppression. But yeah, for now, we'll have to wait to see what this looks like, if it's successful, though I will say on that front, if there was anyone that could make a Rumble gaming work, it would be this guy. Because whatever your feelings on him are, his audience is very enthusiastic and loyal to the point that they would follow him somewhere. And that, as it feels like we're more and more living in a world of multi-streaming where creators are just going to all the other platforms where people already are. But yeah, time will tell. But then, taking a quick break from the news, if you're like me, finding a holiday gift that's fun, educational, and keeps kids excited, it can feel like a challenge. But that's why I love the sponsor of today's show, KiwiCo, where they've made gifting for the kids in my life so much easier. And not to mention, it's cool for adults too. Because with KiwiCo, you're not just given a one-time present, you're gifting a series of hands-on learning adventures delivered every month.
Oh
Each
my
crate
God,
is designed
I
to
need a
spark
mouse. This
curiosity
drives
and
me
build skills
nuts.
in areas like science, art, and world discovery all through play. And my kids love diving into said that there have not been any reported illnesses in connection to this batch, but also now, very notably here, the CDPH said that there have not been any reported illnesses in connection to this batch, but also reportedly the affected lot had a best by date of 11/27/2024, and according to the World Health Organization, while most people develop symptoms within 2 to 5 days, it can take up to 17 days, which is why I had the CDPH warning that people can contract bird flu not just from drinking contaminated raw milk,
Wait,
but
you can get
even from
bird flu?
accidentally inhaling it or touching
thought
their
people
eyes,
couldn't get
nose, and
that.
mouth with unwashed hands after touching
Or
raw
is
milk.
that
And that's
mad
also
cow?
why I had the state health agency warning people not to drink any of the affected unpasteurized milk and to immediately return any remaining products to the retailer that they purchased it from. And so with that, one, adding that officials were notifying
damn.
sellers to remove the
I didn't
contaminated
realize it
products
got
as well.
dark.
And two, the CDPH also noting public health
I'll be right
experts
back.
have long warned consumers against consuming raw milk or raw milk products due to elevated risks of foodborne illness, with them then going on to outline a laundry list of different bacteria and illnesses that have been reported in relation to consuming raw dairy. And this is explicitly saying that the CDPH actively advises against consuming raw milk or raw milk products due to the risk of foodborne illnesses. Right, with the agency explaining that pasteurization, right, the process of heating milk to a certain temperature for a set length of time, it kills many of these bad microorganisms that can cause illness. And making it clear that pasteurized milk, unlike raw milk, is safe to drink despite what you might see online. Right, and I will say, to that point, we actually did a deep dive recently into the dangers of drinking unpasteurized milk amid a boom and what can really only be described as raw milk propaganda. And I'll link to that in the description, and I recommend you check it out. The very top level TLDR is that there's been this big growing trend of people consuming and promoting raw milk as a healthier and more natural alternative. And this, despite the fact that health experts say the exact opposite. We're saying that it is actually much more dangerous and there's nothing unnatural about pasteurization. Though part of the reason that this movement has gotten so much traction is it kind of just, it eats its way from both sides. Right, on one end, you have a lot of far-right anti-establishment folks latching onto it as a middle finger to the government agencies, kind of painting this as a matter of freedom. But then on the complete other end, you have the kind of woo-woo Erewhon types like Gwyneth Paltrow hawking it. They're saying that
I feel like I should do an after dark zone. Let me turn off the light a little bit. Actually, what does it look like when I put the phone light on? Because you can do that with this app. Holy shit. Actually, that kind of works. We can have this down now. Hold on. Let's put gamer lights. Come on. Red. Green. Purple. Purple. That is not purple. Oh, there we go. What color should we do? Red? Dude. Besides like that crazy ass glare, that actually works. I wonder if I could soften the light by putting like a little piece of paper on it. We're getting out of control now. Where am I going? Whoa! It's a hat backwards time. Woo! Ow. That kind of hurt. Somehow it still looks insanely bright in here. Alright, whatever. Dude, that looks so much better. I wonder if it's gonna overheat though. That light is really bright. I can't tell if it's actually Mustang. I can't stop playing that song. That whole album is nuts. Mustang. Okay. Not like us. They not like us. Alrighty. Let's see.
that she drinks unpasteurized cream in her coffee daily, and she's literally promoting the same brand of raw milk that tested positive for bird flu in California. And then all of this is we've seen an increased push among lawmakers in a growing number of states to legalize unpasteurized milk. Hell, just last week, a bill was introduced in the Arkansas legislature that would expand access by making off-farm sales of raw milk legal. And this is in addition to the many other health risks. You have the situation in California raising concerns about the possible transmission of bird flu to people who consume raw milk. Because while this virus is largely associated with birds, cases were first confirmed in U.S. dairy cows back in March, and since then the virus has spread to cattle in 15 states. And although the spread to humans remains low, most of the confirmed cases came from exposure to cattle, according to the CDC. And California has been disproportionately impacted. According to Agricultural Department data, 402 of the 616 confirmed cases in cattle have been in California. But that's also super significant because experts say that the big concern here is that the more people exposed to bird flu, the more opportunities the virus has to mutate and become more dangerous. With a saying, for example, Celine Gounder, an infectious disease specialist and an epidemiologist at NYU, explained it. If you have people being exposed to H5N1 avian flu, and then they get infected with regular seasonal flu, they can function as a mixing vessel in which these different flu viruses combine and form a Frankenstein virus to which people do not have any pre-existing immunity. And that's how you end up with a pandemic, with them adding that just one person who consumes raw milk with bird flu could put the rest of the population at risk. But again, all of that is being said and warned in the face of this growing movement. For now, we're gonna have to wait to see, both generally and also because California is taking precautions to protect consumers, including by testing batches of raw milk, with the same actually being done at the federal level as well in other affected states. But hey, like I said, we'll see. I feel like everything that's happening right now is we're just in fuck around and find out territory. Though unfortunately, in pretty much every avenue, even those who aren't fucking around are gonna have to find out because others are fucking around. Yeah, fun times. But then, in truly wild international news, the vice president of the Philippines publicly said she has contracted an assassin to kill the president, his wife, and the Speaker of the House in case she ends up dead. Or with that being Vice President Sara Duterte, who, if you're like, why does that sound so familiar? It's because her father, Rodrigo Duterte, is the former president whose war on drugs left thousands dead in a campaign now being investigated as possibly crimes against humanity. And in fact, we just talked about him last month when he admitted before Congress that he had once authorized a death squad.
Imagine like legitimately being charged with crimes against humanity. Like, damn, that is crimes against humanity.
To kill alleged drug dealers and users. But in any case, the current president is Ferdinand Bong Bong Marcos Jr., and he's often referred to as BBM for short. You see, his daddy was a dictator who tortured and killed his political opponents before eventually being ousted in a largely peaceful uprising. So the younger Marcos ran with the younger Duterte, both winning landslide victories in separate elections and calling for national unity. This is them smiling and holding hands during the inauguration ceremony back in 2022. But since then, they've clashed over a number of issues, including how to deal with China's aggressive actions in the disputed South China Sea, with things just then getting personal, where Duterte has loudly and let's say colorfully criticized BBM, his wife, and the House Speaker, who notably is BBM's cousin, accusing them of corruption, incompetence, and politically persecuting her family and its supporters. With in fact, last month, her telling reporters her relationship with BBM had gotten so toxic that she wanted to cut his head off. And then, not long after that, she said that she would dig up his father's body and throw it into the sea. But with that, Duterte's latest comments seem to be driven by the House deciding to detain her chief of staff, right? Because her chief of staff was accused of obstructing a congressional inquiry into Duterte's alleged misuse of funds. And this leading to a profanity-filled tirade in an online news conference Saturday where she eventually made the comment about hiring a hitman, with her then later trying to walk it back, saying it wasn't a real threat, but rather an expression of concern over some unspecified threat to her own life. But notably, here are her exact words. "Don't worry about my security because I've talked with somebody. I said, if I'm killed, you'll kill BBM, his wife, and the Speaker of the House. No joke. No joke." And so with that, unsurprisingly, the National Police and military immediately increased the security of the president. The National Security Council said it considered all threats to BBM a matter of national security, with also the Department of Justice saying it would issue a subpoena giving Duterte 5 days to explain himself before investigators. And then as far as what the president has had to say about this, he said, quote, "The statements we've heard the past few days are disturbing. There's the nonstop cursing and the threats to kill. If it's that easy to plan to kill the president, what more the average Filipino? That sort of criminal attempt cannot be allowed to happen. I will fight that." And there, I should say technically, whether or not Duterte was being serious or not, she may have still broken the law. Right, in that, because in the Philippines, her comments may constitute a crime of threatening to inflict a wrong on a person or his family. And that's punishable by a jail term and a fine there. But for now, we're gonna have to wait to see how all this plays out. But then, MrBeast is finally responding to so many of the accusations that have been made against him in recent months. There may be lawsuits in the future, and there's also now a controversy around the way that he addressed this. Right, and all of this stemming from MrBeast sitting down with a creator by the name of Oompaville in a 2.5-hour interview, which I'm going to try to make consumable and hit the highlights because I know a lot of people do not have 2.5 hours for this. Right, and so where I'll start is the fact that MrBeast apparently is considering a lawsuit against Dogpack, which if you don't remember, Dogpack's that former MrBeast employee who's posted videos accusing MrBeast of essentially being a fraud.
Dogpack. Every time I hear his name, all I think
of
is...
with that, since there's been a good amount of pushback to Dogpack's claims, and MrBeast said that Dogpack was spreading misinformation, and when asked if he would sue Dogpack, he said,
"There's tons of examples of him intentionally
he
manipulating things to not be true
shit.
and posting it online, caused a lot of harm to my businesses. I mean, I've literally had people pull out millions of dollars and then tell me it was directly because of his video. It's just unfortunate. Like, I don't want to be put in this situation, but probably gonna have to. I mean, it's just, I mean, what do you do if someone's just spreading misinformation about you and, you know, just causing harm to your business.
Or with MrBeast even saying that he has spoken to law firms who said that it would be a very winnable case. And as far as some of the more specific allegations MrBeast said weren't true, we'll start with Delaware, because MrBeast was accused of knowingly hiring a registered sex offender by the name of Delaware. But here you had MrBeast saying, yes, he hired him, but he did not know he was a registered sex offender. Saying instead he had just gone to a local Best Buy to hire some of the staffers. MrBeast, being 19 at the time, really didn't think about background checks, and adding,
there's a rumor that's gone around that said that he sat me and my mom down and told us. Obviously, I don't remember that happening. And when I read that tweet, the first thing I did was I called my mom and I was like, hey, did this happen? Because someone's claiming this happened. My mom said, I would have literally quit or honestly probably shut the business down before I ever let my teenage son hire a registered sex offender knowingly. I take accountability. Yes, if I could go back in time, I would tell teenage me, hey, you're supposed to do background checks.
MrBeast also then went on to address claims that he used CGI in his videos, explaining that it's only used very sparingly and not to fully fabricate something, just to make it look better. And in a document with evidence and examples, he noted that Dogpack said that he made up an explosion with CGI, but MrBeast said the explosion was real and CGI was just used to touch it up and enhance it. MrBeast also touched on accusations that he ran illegal lotteries and said that as far as he knows, the lotteries that he ran weren't illegal, but he does have people looking into it. But then also with that, he said if people want refunds for it, he set up a page for people to seek those just for good measure. Also, as far as why he said that it took him so long to respond to these claims, he said that it was because he had hired an outside investigation team to look into the allegations being made against his company, with him saying that during that time, it just wasn't right for him to speak on all this.
They recommended that I not talk about drama or really
must have
do
been
anything
so
online
hard.
because it might influence, you know, witnesses or any people they might interview or ex-employees.
Or with him calling the timing unfortunate since so much was being levied against him as the investigation unfolded, but saying that he had to let it play out. And that investigation notably finding that allegations of sexual misconduct were without merit, though it was reported they did find several isolated incidents of workplace harassment, which they said were addressed. And with all this, MrBeast saying that he just acted based off of the information that the law firm investigating gave him.
They told me, like, I need to fire someone. We fired him. Like, I mean, it's not like I don't want to be the arbiter of truth. I want people who are professional in these things to, you know, get the information, make sure they have all the facts, and I want them to tell me what to do.
We also saw MrBeast responding to some of the more general criticisms around his content, or things like his charity work. People think that it's fraudulent or exploitative. But seeing him pushing back against a few examples, saying in situations where he was accused of things like not paying for surgeries, he ended up following through and paying. With him saying that a lot of this stuff just ends up being tied to miscommunication errors that happen when you're trying to help thousands of people worldwide. With him then also responding to situations where people accuse him of using his philanthropy as a shield against criticism.
I actually think I would get less hate if I didn't do philanthropy. So I actually think it's having the inverse effect, at least in the last 2 years. Like, people hate me more because I do good.
We also saw MrBeast pushing back against the claims that the cacao that he uses in his Feastables bars are unethically sourced and involve slave labor, with him saying that he works with Tony's Chocolonely to make sure everything is ethical, and saying not only is Feastables fair trade certified, but they also pay a living income reference price to prevent child labor. In this, there were other things that he said that he couldn't talk much about, like the Beast Games lawsuit. There's ongoing litigation, but, you know, of the whole situation where former contestants are suing him and Amazon, he said that some of it's being exaggerated, saying that claims that the production went out of its way to use non-union labor were false, saying that they did use unions. Then, regarding one specific claim,
is someone in the chat or is that me watching myself? Because I'm not online anywhere. Somebody, maybe it's a like open in like a tab or something. What does that count? Freaking God. Stupid pencil got everywhere. All right, sorry. I am crazy. I'm gonna quit Opera, see if that helps. It says one person's watching on Twitch. Interesting. We've got a ghost watcher. Hello, Ghost Watcher.
He did note that one woman was allergic to the feminine
Thank
care
you for
products they
ghost
had on
watching.
set and still did not get them in a timely manner after telling crew. And of that, he said,
which is unacceptable. And these, like, so I learned a lot of little things like that, but I think in general, a lot of it has just been blown out of proportion.
And then the last thing that we're going to touch on, which there's also a fair amount of discussion on it and responses, are those crypto allegations, right? Because Coffeezilla recently dove into a report about MrBeast on that front. And regarding all that, you had MrBeast saying,
what I told Coffee in that statement we gave him, it was managed by a fund. So I wasn't the one managing the wallet I've never had access to that wallet. I've never done the buying and selling on that wallet.
And so MrBeast said that most of the allegations coming out against his crypto investments tied to the fact that he's just not capable of handling it himself and has a fund doing it. Saying the wallet is called Wu-Tang Clan and saying he had to educate himself on even what that was because he wouldn't name it that. And like I said, right, this part actually generated a lot of chatter, and Oompaville even asked MrBeast some follow-up questions at the end of the video to get more into the details on his crypto holdings. With actually around that, Coffeezilla claiming in a separate video that he was the one that came up with those questions and that Oompaville was relaying them. And the first of these questions involves whether or not MrBeast was really controlling the trading that went on within Wu-Tang. Right, and this because back in 2021, he said this on a podcast with Logan Paul.
I bought a bunch. I bought quite a few. I bought multiple ones. I've already sold quite a few of them. So then I rolled the money into VFriends.
Which you had Oompaville asking.
So if it was your decision, you know, if semantically, if what you're talking about on the podcast, if it was your decision, your trading decision to buy and sell the punks or VFriends, even though you didn't press the buttons, was it actually your decision? And if it was your decision, and even if you didn't press the button, it still, to me, would mean that you had control of those trading decisions.
Yes, I did say that on the podcast, and I obviously did not press the buttons, like I've been saying. I didn't pick what punks to buy or anything. Gary Vee, like I said on that podcast, called me and a bunch of other people, said crypto punks were the next big thing.
Fucking
I thought it was
Gary
pretty
Vee.
crazy. But, you know, the first thing I did right after that is just called the guy in charge of the fund who invested my money and it's other people's money as well, and just said, hey, Gary Vee seemed very passionate about these punks. You should look into it. If it makes sense, buy it.
With Jimmy again claiming that he doesn't even have access to that wallet, though Coffeezilla pushed back.
I cannot tell you how weird this answer is in hindsight, because you basically have to completely disbelieve what Jimmy says in 2021 to believe this story. And then even more crazy, he says he specifically bought certain CryptoPunks because he liked their attribute, like the cigarette one. He's like, I like the cigarette CryptoPunk.
The cigarettes, because I thought that was an interesting attribute.
But here he's saying, oh, I didn't even know which ones to buy.
I don't know which punks to buy or which ones we should buy if it's a good investment.
But then, moving to the second question, it involves why MrBeast didn't disclose that he had a vested interest in another coin called Super, which is one that he allegedly made $10 million off of after he bought 100,000 during a pre-sale. One that many have accused him of promoting before selling off, pointing back to this tweet where he references the coin. And regarding this, Jimmy telling Oompaville.
I just went scrolling through Twitter, just replied Super to his tweet. I did not tell people to buy Super.
Wait, no, stop. Jimmy set up the Super pre-sale thing. That is such a big deal. In his whole thing about like, oh, I barely had anything to do with the fund. The most profitable trading decision this fund ever made was set up explicitly by MrBeast Jimmy Donaldson.
And you know, with this, really, Coffee's saying he doesn't think that there's enough evidence to call this thing an illegal scam, but still adding that he says that MrBeast needs to own up to it and say, yes, it was shady and wrong, I shouldn't have done it. And there, during a couple of points in the call with Oompaville, MrBeast does admit he'd do things differently if he could change the past and say that it was a bad look optically. Again, also claiming he was never involved in the day-to-day operations of the fund. And this is he never apologizes to the degree that Coffee wants him to. But then finally, right, the final question involves Eternity Chain. And that because back...
Honestly, I feel like MrBeast should just become like a villain now. Like he should just embrace the villain arc and become a heel. And just start making like crazy messed up videos that like nobody likes. And be like, what do you think now? Huh? That's not going to happen.
Back in 2021, MrBeast says that they gifted him NFTs for a charity auction for his Team C's project. With the idea apparently being that you'd use Eternity
I'm not even
to buy
on the
and donate.
camera.
However, during that event, MrBeast Rocket Fund sold off $2 million in Eternity. With MrBeast saying to Oompaville that that event was a massive failure.
Only one sold after like whatever, a day, I believe, and that was it. And then yeah, it looks like the fund sold like 27 days later. A little bit of Eternity.
Yeah, it sold $2 million of the earn token.
Oh, now there it is. There's the fund. Hey, the fund did. You know whose name is on Eternity? Not the fund. It's MrBeast.
And at this point, we even see Oompaville push back on his call with Jimmy, saying it's not a great look if your fund is privately making millions during a charity drop. But with that, we saw Jimmy still defending himself, saying that he doesn't think the criticism is valid because the charity was such a flop.
No, not fair criticism. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Sorry to say, yes, it is. It was bad. You should feel bad. You don't feel bad, which is a problem. I think it's actually a huge problem. This is crazy. MrBeast is living in a bubble where he thinks, and like, I don't know, can you not just take Basic accountability here. Nobody's even asking. No one's trying to lock you up here.
But yeah, effectively, that is where the Oompaville interview and Coffee's response ends. You know, I'll say credit to Oompaville for relaying the questions from Coffeezilla to MrBeast, though I would personally love to see a sit-down interview or a Zoom interview between Coffeezilla and MrBeast, at least on the crypto topics. But yeah, you know, from here, we're just gonna have to wait to see what happens, and that's on several fronts. What do we see as the general public reaction to all of this, as well as are we gonna see MrBeast suing Dogpack 404? But either way, I will say, unless there's a massive, wild update to this, I'm overdosed on this story. But that, my friends, is the end of your Monday evening, Tuesday morning dive into the news. Though I will leave you with two friendly reminders. One, make sure you get on this brand new Beautiful Bastard drop, especially while we have these Black Friday bundle savings. You can click that link in the description to go to beautifulbastard.com. And two, remember, every day this week, you get 2 chances of getting filled in. First, in the morning over at twitch.tv/DeFranco Live at 10:30 a.m. Eastern. And then, of course, separately, get your full Philip DeFranco show right here on YouTube at 6 p.m. Eastern. I love you, faces. Stay safe out there, and I'll see you tomorrow.
Right, let's go to another video. Yeah, baby. It's 7 o'clock. Damn, it's 7 o'clock? Holy crap. All right, I think we'll do one more video. Actually, you know what? I think I'm gonna call it right now. For right now, since we don't really have any viewers, I think there's a ghost watching. They still haven't said anything, so I don't even know if that's a real person. But I'm going to call it now since we're literally at exactly 3 hours, which is I think that's the longest stream I've done. I might have done one 3.5, but pretty. So I'm gonna come back on and I think I'm gonna try to come back on in like an hour. I'm gonna go eat something, do a few little things. All right. All right, so let's go to the outro. All right. Thank you everybody for watching. And if you follow, like that one guy did, his name's gonna be at the end of the video on the next one. I don't know. We'll see. All right. I love you. God, I'm so awkward. All right. Thanks, everybody. I love ya. Peace out.